This video has been sponsored by
your mum! Hi, Jim. Hi, Jim. I'm Jim. No, you're not. You're right, I'm sorry. It's okay, we all make mistakes. Like that one time I set fire to that school. Yeah, I know. I thought it was a wasp's nest. I got some news for you. Oh yeah? Don't care. No, I really think you need to hear this news. Shut up! You're a news. Oh, come on, stop being such a baby. It'll only take 5 seconds, I promise. I want Cumpy. Excuse me? Cumpy. I want Cumpy. I swear to God I'm gonna go. Give me Cumpy! Okay, fine. You want Cumpy? I'll go and get you your damn Cumpy. What is it with you and your Cumpy? There, here you go. There's your Cumpy. You happy now? Yes. I've had enough, I'm off. Thank you for Cumpy. You're not welcome. Oh, and by the way, you just hit 1 million subscribers, so, yeah. Oh my God!
I'm over here. Look over here.
Oh! 1 million subscribers. What the hell is that about? Thank you so much, everyone. But also, what the hell is wrong with you? That is a number that I never thought I would ever reach in my lifetime on YouTube, and it's a bit too special to not dedicate a full video towards celebrating. But what shall I do a video on? It's gotta be important. It's gotta be grand. It's gotta say, I've reached 1 million subscribers. What should it be? I've already made the video and I don't know. So I will go to America right now and ask all of my friends. Oh no, look who it is. It's him. It's Simon the Door. Yes, of course I was going to talk about Spyro when I hit 1 million subs. I've only been promising that since your Labrador was born. It's dead now. There is a reason I've avoided everything to do with Spyro up until now, though, because he's easily the most requested thing I've ever had to talk about on my channel ever since I started it. So for the sake of saving it for something special, I always told myself, not yet, Purple Prince. I'll save you for 1 million. So come on, you blokes, let's get him out! Spyro, it's finally time! Save money on my mum's hip replacement. And let's be honest, everybody loves Spyro. That's why he was so requested. Who doesn't love him? The thing is, though, I don't want to get too overexcited. There's a lot of Spyro games out there that I could make multiple videos about. We're far beyond the days of 2012 and me only covering the first 3 games for a Caddicarus retrospective! No, I'm gone. So for this special, I am going to stick to the main console games and the main portable games, go through each and every one of them chronologically, and then show you why Spyro games make me wood. Part 1. Purple is gay. Right, so first off, no matter if you like Spyro or hate his guts, you cannot deny the iconic status of this box art. This color scheme, this art style, it's so PlayStation. It is perfect. I wouldn't change a thing about it. Why is that there? The story of Spyro 1 is that the press have gone over to the Dragon Realms to interview the dragons about a wretched old boil known as Nasty Nork, and they decide to make fun of him on live TV.
Besides, he is ugly.
Got a real Kanye West over it. Now, how did Nasty hear that savage diss all the way from his house? Well, you have to remember, this was way back in the 90s and everybody thought TVs worked like telephones. Don't forget, TVs had only been around for 70 years. Because of that, Nasty Nork casts a crystallizing spell on every dragon in the kingdom, except for Spyro, because luckily for us though, Spyro is purple, and purple is a sick color. Everything purple kicks ass, which means Spyro runs off to kick ass, which means the game itself would inevitably kick ass. Except his voice, that doesn't really kick anything aside from my face.
What about Nasty Nork? I'm going after him.
We're Nasty Nork, I'm going after him. Is it because of his color? Did they give him a chain-smoking teenager's voice because no one would think he was cool for being purple? That's outrageous. Some of the best things in life are purple, like bruises and ringworm.
Destiny? I just want to kick some.
Just toast those enemies and collect the treasure.
See, kids? Spyro is cool. He nearly said bottom. In Simon 1, you skip around luscious open environments unless the game stops you with the big shapes. Smashing all of your nan's china with your head, gliding from island to island, setting sheep on fire, occasionally fighting a boss, cracking open old men.
Run! Run! I'm getting a little...
And eventually run off to Nasty's lair to spit roast him. That nasty Nork is toast.
Yeah, he is.
And honestly, that's kind of it. This is a fairly standard collectathon platformer from the time. Find as many gems, dragon eggs, and crystallized perverts as possible in order to unlock more hub worlds to find as many gems, dragon eggs, and crystallized perverts as possible. But Simon does have some tricks up his sleeve to stick out above your Banjo-Kazooies and your Super Martins.
Let's-a go, Yahoo!
In case you didn't notice, Spyro is a dragon, and that means he has 5 unique things that make the game work entirely on their own. 1. Dangly skin. Simon not only jumps like every other knobhead, but by hitting jump again can use the loose parts of his back to glide long distances, all the way to Scotland. This isn't only an extremely fun and liberating thing to do in every Spyro game, but allows the level design to focus not just on horizontal flat landscapes. Now you can have giant, sprawling, and tall levels based on verticality. You see that glimmering secret pile of treasure far out there? Well, if you get yourself high enough somewhere else in that level, and not from a weed, you may be able to reach it. It's not even a case of you finding the one single place to cross that one single gap, turning the glide function into a situational invisible bridge either. You can glide off of any surface in any direction, which means the designers can hide more secrets in more creative places and gives you a breathtaking sense of freedom and adventure in each level, which can also be tense as hell. Whenever I'm about to make a risky looking glide, I always have this inner fear of, oh my god, I want that stuff over there, but is my glide going to be high enough to reach it? Well, I guess there's only one way to find out, so here I go. But once I'm gone, I'm committed, so I have to be confident. Oh god, I'm not gonna make it, am I? Oh god, Simon, you're gonna die. I'm so sorry, Simon, this is my fault. You're flying slowly towards your coffin and you're seeing it happen right in front of your eyes, but are powerless to do anything. Oh no, please don't look at me, Simon. I'm sorry, please stop making me own my guilt. Please stop looking at me! 2. Bad breath. Instead of any clumsy jumps or precise melee attacks, Simon uses a wide, close-range fire breath attack to kill the enemy Norks or break open baskets for gems. Not only a really fun thing to do, but it looks cool, leaves little black ashes behind, and basically guarantees a hit if you're facing the general direction of the breath since it has such a wide girth. 3. The horn. Simon can use his horns for even more utility than the flame breath. It can break metal vases and baskets, attack basic Norks no problem, and gives you a speed boost which makes basic running around much more thrilling and quick when you need to get a move on with your little bum. 4. Whirlwinds. If you jump into a whirlwind, the camera moves downwards and lets you look right up Spyro's. 5. Small thing that isn't a dragon and has nothing to do with dragons at all. That wispy little skinny lemon is Sparks the Dragonfly, and he is your health bar somehow. Yellow means you've got 4 hits left, blue is 3 hits left, green is 2 hits left, gone is 1 hit left, and then you keep yourself healthy by murdering smaller creatures that have no ways of fighting back, just like in real life. But honestly, I couldn't care less about health points. I just want Sparks to look yellow as often as possible, because blue and yellow look like spoiled cheese. I don't want Sparks to look ill, so I give him as many butterflies as possible. I will even go all the way back to the beginning of an empty level to top him up if I have to. No small animal is too far away for me to gut. In fact, we do it just for fun in our spare time. But here's where things get interesting. On their own, the moves that Spyro can pull off are pretty sweet. But when you mix them together, whoa. You get big enemies that can only be flamed and armored enemies that can only be charged with your horns. Then you get enemies that are too big to charge but also armored from your flame, so a new weakness needs to be discovered. You get collectible dragon eggs that are stolen by thieves that are too quick to be flamed, so need to be charged towards all over the level while they go. This noise triggers my stomach acids. You get supercharge panels on the floor to make your charge get faster and faster the more time you spend on the panels, and the more time you spend on the panels, the further your jump and glide becomes. And it's because of that example in particular why I love levels like Treetops, because once you get going, it's like... Yeah, most people hate it. But you're all morons. Sure, it takes me a few attempts to remember the routes, and I die a few times every time I come back to it after a while, but the satisfaction of finding the correct starting point of a supercharge panel, jumping over to another island to keep gaining speed on another supercharge panel, and then making that one final gigantic glide over to the hardest to reach area of the whole game is ingenious and incredible to get right. The game isn't full of stuff like this, but when it is, it nails it and makes me go. I even like the little balance things going on with how you control Spyro, like flame breathing, for example, bubble being an easier and safer attack to do against baskets and enemies, but the trade-off for that is that everything is slower and the gems that drop from them float up into the air and fall loose. But if you try and go for a risky charge attack as much as possible, you'll find it's not only faster, but then the gems will follow immediately after you once you break the basket or kill the enemy. I even love how you can charge different barrels towards the end of the game to attack the Then you get those one-off bonus levels for each world that turns the game into a free-flying time trial of destruction. These will be known from now on as speedways. Why can't Simon fly all over the place whenever he wants at any other point in the game?
Because you ask too many questions.
Actually, it's most likely because whenever he does fly on his own, he can get... This is the reason people still love the original Spyro PS1 series even until today. It's the fine mix of all of these moves to make the series a blast to play, with a couple of extra references to other games for good measure.
I always believed in you, Spyro.
You gotta believe.
Time to get romantic. Ha 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 ha.
The charm of the world around you is off the charts too, and there's so much detail put into the tiniest things. If you charge into a bull instead of flaming it, it'll get stuck in the ground by its horns. If you move up a steep hill, Simon's walk cycle changes. Set fire to cacti and watch them shake the ashes off. Watch enemies capture smaller creatures and then get too distracted celebrating to attack you. See how terrified enemies look as you walk towards them, but once you look away from them, they... Oh.
He love this fat ass.
Seriously though, there are Norks everywhere, and nearly every single level gives you a different variant of them, which the game really didn't need to do. There's Norks with swords, Norks with clubs, Norks with flags, Norks with tasers, Norks with guns. Norks with guns. Easy does it, I'm too small and I can't reach that. Also, I'm British, which means you probably hate me, but it also means that I love saying the word Norks. The hills have Norks, the castles have Norks, the harbours have Norks, the fairies have Norks. You know what's sad as well? In the Reignited Trilogy remake, they got rid of the Norks with guns and replaced them with purple water pistols.
Oh, come on now. What? You don't like seeing guns in your video games? What are you, a cuckwoke?
And hey, I may really dislike Spyro's voice in this game, but the other dragons you rescue are another thing entirely.
Spyro, my friend, how about a hint on gliding?
How about you get far?
I love all of these guys. They're only ever on screen for like 5 seconds each, but they're the most memorable part of the game for me.
Ever since you're a wee puff of smoke, we've known, I forget.
They mostly serve as hints and tips when you find them, even though the hints are all horrible.
Big enemies like this Gnorc with the club cannot be charged, but a quick flame, that should defeat them.
Yes, I already killed that guy to rescue you. What are you talking about?
Did you know that you get your longest glides by pressing X at the very top of your jump?
How do you think I got here?
Flame won't harm metal, but charging with your horns, that should do the trick.
This is World 2. I've been doing this for the last 6 levels. Are you senile?
Be careful, Spyro. This boss has many tricks up his sleeve.
What does that mean?
Some big Norks up ahead are wearing armor.
I don't blame them. They're very sensitive.
The best line in the entire game, though, easily goes to Cletus. My man Cletus. What does he say?
Spyro, it's great to see you, but I've got to go.
All right. Bye then. You know what all of the dragons' favorite thing is to say, though?
Thank you for releasing me.
I swear that most of these smelly lizards say this line on repeat, and by the end of the game, nearly every single one of them says it. You want to see how many I found?
Thank you for releasing me.
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 Thank you for releasing me. Thank you for releasing me. Thank you for releasing me. Thank you for releasing me.
Thank you for releasing me. Thank you for releasing me.
Thank you for releasing me.
But don't worry, not all of them say thank you. Some of them say thanks.
Thanks for releasing me.
It's really a shame, though, that as a game itself, Spyro 1 is just alright. Welcome to my Arabian toilet.
Yeah, despite my accolades, I actually don't think Spyro 1 is that great, mainly because of how primitive and stripped back it feels, especially compared to the sequels, which isn't Spyro 1's fault, but I'm blaming him anyway. And I don't care what you say because, you know, it's weird. It always surprises me when I remember that the first Spyro came out in 1998. This wasn't an early PlayStation title, and yet I think it feels like one. There's just something missing. I can't explain it. There's no gimmicks, no major surprises. I mean, I do love simplicity and games that are to the point, but with cartoony collectathon Johnny John Spyro the Johnson, the simplicity holds it back for me. Especially when you compare it to the following games, Spyro 1 feels really plain, just like how Crash 1 feels compared to Crash 2. And by 1998, Crash 3 had already perfected the Crash formula, whereas Spyro was just getting his feet wet. And when Spyro gets his feet wet, he dies. The collectathon gameplay loop is pretty basic, and it gets a bit samey for me after World 2, with not much variety in what you actually do, aside from more dangerous glides and slightly different enemies. And for as much as I love the visual style, the presentation itself also gets a little bit too samey for me. Aside from that hole, these things can get royally shitted off too. What are these things? Why do they look like that? How do they slide around so quickly? Ah, get off me, you radish! No matter how many times I replay this game, I can never remember the names of levels or tell them apart by screenshots. They just don't leave much of a lasting impact on me. I don't think there's anything entertaining or that endearing about the characters and story. Spyro's voice
I think I smell a barbecue.
makes me want to shit down a chimney. The sound effects feel really wet and sloppy without much impact or crunch. The charge controls are pretty damn loose and slippery. The charging jump height is shorter than a stand for a toddler trying to reach a sink. The glide can sometimes feel really heavy that doesn't always make its target even when you feel like it should. And then there's all the little things that add up over the course of the game. You hit these and then jump over them to get the gems. Why? It's awkward. If you miss it, you just do it again. Waste of time. These things you breathe fire on over and over again until they pop. Pointless. Why am I doing this? Waste of time. This rolling mechanic? Useless. I only find it handy on these single dog enemies on this single level because everything chases you down anyway even if you rolled. Waste of buttons. Then you have the soundtrack, composed by one of my favorite drummers of all time, Stuart Copeland. It's a soundtrack beloved by basically everyone. And I think it's... eh? Oh my god. Yes, it's that Stuart Copeland, the drummer from the all-time classic rock band, The Policeman. And look, I don't hate the music, it's good music. I don't get the undying love for this game's soundtrack in particular. I think it's way too spacious and meandering for the kind of game that this is. And if you tied a rope around my neck and asked me to match which songs go with what levels or else you'll hang me, I'd say, I don't know. But then I'd say that anyway because I don't mind this. Don't get me wrong though, when the visuals and music come together into a gourmet, creamy cereal, it's downright incredible. Now with added hair. My go-to example being Dark Hollow in World 1. But as a whole, I just don't dig the soundtrack that much. It's well constructed, it's well performed, and there are some great tracks here. I just can't remember most of it, and I don't think it matches the gameplay that well. And these bosses, these bosses, these absolute garbage fire F-tier bosses, F for very stinky. These are the worst parts of the game for me. They aren't bosses, they're regular levels that are really small with slightly stronger enemies that I wouldn't let near a school. First boss, Toasty. He's a scarecrow that is actually a sheep on stilts. Hit him 3 times, he does nothing. These regular dog enemies are more dangerous than him. Second boss, Dr. Shemp. Hit his back after jumping over like 2 attacks. Third boss, Blowhard. More like blow chunks. Fourth boss, Metalhead. Charge into metal poles that aren't electrified. You win. Boss 5, Jacques. Do some platforming and then question why the hell he has a regular French name. Final boss, Nasty Nork, is sadly just as easy to kill as any other regular Nork. You chase him, he does nothing, you win. When the edge of the walkway is more threatening than the final boss, you know you've ballsed it. At least you got a pretty sweet reward for 100%ing the game though. You get access to Nasty's loot. The only actual free-flying level where you just explore everywhere, blow up everything, and steal all of his treasure. Thanks for the stimulus check, Nasty breast. Then the credits roll. Ah, nostalgia. You know, even though this isn't my favorite Spyro game and I do have problems with it, I do like it a lot still to this day. I enjoy this game, and every time I reach this credit sequence and hear this music and watch all the low poly flyby level camera stuff going on, it lets me know that I made a good choice in picking up this game to replay it again. No sheep were harmed during the creation of this game. No, you're lying. You cooked them up and you sent them to... Spyro 1 is a classic, no doubt. But at the end of the day, even though I've got a lot of nostalgia for it, This is not the game that I replay whenever I feel like a bit of him. It's better than Crash 1 for a first attempt, but it still feels like a first attempt.
You're a first attempt.
Oh no! Who is that?
I'm the amazing Wendigo.
The amazing Wendigo.
No.
Where?
Look, they made another Spyro game.
Now this is where shit starts getting good. Thank you, the amazing Where'd he go? Oh, fuck! Yes, you lads, it's Spyro 2. He's back,
And I'm back.
Look alive, everyone. It's Simon 2, Ripped My Ropes. Or as I personally know it, Simon 2, Great. A Garden. To be honest, I prefer the European name of Gateway to Glimmer against Ripto's Rage, but I will admit it is strange. Glimmer is just the first level of the game. You're never looking for a gateway to it. That'd be like if this was called Crash Bandicoot Sand. Straight away, we've got much better cutscenes with actual story in them, and boom, bang, bing, we've got new characters who are better than anything we saw in Spyro 1. You've got the Professor, who's a bastard mole,
Digging up all of my lawn.
you've got Alora, who's a fawn, you dork, and Hunter the Cheetah, who always looks like he wipes with his fingers. Even Simon's voice is improved.
Is this rain ever gonna stop? I've forgotten what the sun looks like.
If you don't know, that is the voice of Tom Kenny, and if you don't know who that is, I'll give you a hint.
Now they've set up force fields to separate us. If you can find diodes, you can use them to turn off the force fields.
One thing though, why, only in the cutscenes, does it sound like the voice actors are spitting into the mics?
That's exactly the point. A dragon is our only chance of stopping Ripto.
Betty Botter bought some better butter, better than the bitter butter, so she put it in her bitter batter. Oh, there's also the new baddie, Ripto, who is very small and angry, and that's basically all there is to him. I never really understood the love for him as a villain, I'm sorry. And these three bozos accidentally summoned him to their world, so intercepted Spyro on the way to his holiday. Oh, sorry.
Vacation.
Yeah, your best friends in this game kidnap you and hold your holiday hostage until you fix their big messy. Thanks so much, you woman. Donkey. Spyro 2 as a game, though, is basically Spyro 1 again, but everything is better. Literally everything. It's like jumping from Crash 1 to Crash 2, or pre-vomit to post-vomit. And I'm far from the only person that thinks that. There's just so many quality of life changes here, it's not even funny, and it all comes together perfectly to make me go. The glide falls a little bit slower to make long jumps easier, the charge control's a lot tighter and lets you jump higher while charging to make rushing around levels twice as easy. Sparks the Dragonfly picks up gems from further away, he eats butterflies from burned animals much faster than Spyro 1, the camera moves around you a bit faster, the sound effects are guttier and have more punch to them. And on top of the updates to existing ideas, there's all of the new stuff added in too, like auto-saving, which was a massive deal, because back in those days, we didn't have it. Instead of the stop immediately and splat on the floor triangle move you could do mid-glide in Simon 1, now you have a hover move to give you extra time to correct a glide and give you a tad more height and distance at the end of your glide. Now, instead of getting extra lives from the life clam, while Sparks is at full health, you can stack him with multiple burned animals to eventually give you a life if you eat enough. Spyro can spit. Enemies now don't drop gems to collect and instead add to a defeated enemy tally that can help you unlock a temporary power-up specific to that level, giving you way more chances for supercharging alongside brand new powers like spring jumping, projectile super breath attacks, and temporary flight in the level. And speaking of levels, you now only need to collect one thing at the end of the stage to beat it, with optional missions dotted around each level awarding you orbs that can be used to unlock further levels, bosses, and secrets. And they can sometimes be centered around the platforming that Spyro does best, or something totally new and different like hockey matches against this freak, various puzzles hidden around the stage, or blowing up a load of UFOs piloted by And to top it all off, when you collect everything, you get a little dote! The Speedway stages return and are exactly the same as previously. Okay, that wasn't new, I'm sorry, I don't know why I mentioned it. But now after you beat the main time travel challenge, you can then freely explore the Speedway level without a time limit to find secret hidden characters to talk to that then give you more unique orb missions that change up the gameplay even more. And then you can end your day by being a flag-burning, filthy hippie. Yeah, down with vegetables. Oh yeah, there's also way more cutscenes now too. Some for entertaining story bits, and others for whenever you enter and exit a new level, just to give them that extra dash of personality and depth to them. I like them. You see what the problems are in the level before you get there, help them out, then you fix the problem and see what happens after you leave the level. It's like mini stories within the main story. It's really cute. But as a kid, I hated the Aquaria Towers one. Poor little seahorse dying from lack of water and being baited over and over again for a drink he never gets. Just give him the damn water, you wretch! This isn't Saw 3! What's cool though is that every level has inhabitants to talk to now, and they're nearly all fully voice acted. The only other thing you could interact with in Simon 1 was the balloonist, and sorry man, not only did you not actually speak, but you were only ever good for being a stepladder. Even the fairy checkpoint talks to you now. She's called Zoe, and she likes to pitch shift her voice at random.
That zap means that if you get into trouble, I'll return you to this place.
Each time you defeat an enemy, it will release a spirit particle.
What's up with you, Zoe? Have you got a bad cough?
The water workers have boxed up most of our baby turtles. The boxes are incredibly strong.
Oh no, what are we going to do, Gromit? But then there's another character introduced in this game that would go on to become a Spyro staple. A character that dredges up the worst of a human being. A character that inspires fear, hatred, spite. Bags.
Hello there, Spyro. Would you like to learn to swim underwater? I suppose I could teach you for a small fee?
Moneybags is a round bell end, seems to exist everywhere all at once on every level, and only lives for one thing: locking things away from you and stealing your gems in order to unlock them for you. That's all he is. He's a fat, greedy barrier that has no conscience, no dignity, and only cares about Monty, Monty, Monty. Must be funty. In a rich man's gun. He is a leech, a stain. He's an alt-right Winnie the Pooh that converted a generation of kids into anti-capitalists. And to be perfectly frank, he makes me want to get my killing shoes on.
What a sweet relief.
In fact, I don't even think that any furries like him. Let's ask what. Oh, what's that? You want to sell me a trip on a submarine to get by a load of robot sharks? Pfft, I don't need any of that. You're scamming me. Look, see, I don't need to... Okay, fair enough. Oh, look at you there, Moneybags. Are you a little cold from the snow? Oh no, wait, it's just your soul! My favourite thing to do with him is actually use a double jump glitch in level 1 to not only completely ignore him and his stupid bridge, but also use the same glitch to get on top of a ledge that I'd also need to pay him later on in the game to learn how to climb, and then finish off the rest of the level without paying him a cent, meaning that I can then afford his swimming lessons right after level 1 without needing to go into another level first to try and save up enough. This has been a money-saving tip with Daddy Caddy. Next week, we'll find out how to stop yourself from spending your own money by learning how to keep pennies in your ass. The levels are bigger and give you way more stuff to do and leave a longer lasting impression, but they aren't so big as to make you go, oh no, I can't eat that. And the music is miles better as well. In fact, I'd go as far as to say it sucks. Milkshake through a big straw. It's way more creative, zesty, multi-instrumental, and more percussive. There's even vocals on some of the tracks, my favourites being the one that sounds like a meditating Mr. Bean. And the one where it sounds like a really big man just ate something he didn't like. Then there's all the little monk dudes with their mouths that look like urinals and they go... If you ask me though, the award for best line in the game easily goes to...
Even though I'm a vegetarian, I think you should kill that Yeti.
He's so hardcore about killing an animal that he even goes off script.
Kill!
Oh, by the way, I have a theory about this game that I don't think anybody has ever brought forward before. Hunter is Ripto. And no, I don't mean just because of their exact same size. Other characters in the game are all like,
can you help me tie my shoelaces?
And then you help them and they reward you. But Hunter... He deliberately bricks himself in igloos and hides orbs from you until you nearly kill yourself on a jet ski parachute. He won't give you 2 orbs that you desperately need to save the world unless you run around in a sub-zero cave catching crystals to amuse him. He won't give you the items that you need to defeat the man that he summoned himself until you jump on his captured manta ray and follow a seahorse through a bubble of fart. He plays dumb, but he's not dumb. He has like half of the orbs you already need in his pockets and just doesn't give them to you because Caddicarus Lamau. And have you ever noticed how you never see them together on the same screen? He's the bad guy here. He is Ripto. I also love the way that so many characters have that low poly PS1 over-exaggerated head and mouth shape too. They all look like talking drum cymbals. Hi Hunter, I'm Spyro, and I want to burn all of your incriminating documents. Gee, thanks, Spyro! There's even this one level where you run around and find all of the bones of a skeleton to put him back together. How beautiful is that?
It's so good to see my friend looking healthy again.
Does he? Oh no, what does that mean? What's gonna happen? Yes, I had to sit through the whole thing, so you had to as well. Now, let's move on to—
I think he wants to dance for you.
Oh, no. Oh, hello. My favorite part of the whole game, though, is when you get to World 2, Autumn Plains, and find this level called Zeph, where there are all these slugs on the ground in the middle of a civil war with these birds from the sky, and you help out the slugs by destroying the birds' ammunitions building.
Wow! What an explosion!
My disc is a little scratched. But then immediately after that is another level called Breezy Windpipe, where you go to the homeland of the birds in that same war, and then you help them get their airship running again so they're able to counterattack, ensuring that the war can rage on for many years to come. Spyro is indifferent to global relations. He is a war profiteer. I love Zephyr anyway, though, because there are these baby birds that spit ammunition from mother birds, dropping it from the sky into their mouths, and when they don't have anything, they're like, Mummy, I'm hungry, feed me, Mummy. Oh, you're hungry, are you? Yeah, well, I've got your mummy right here, you little scab. Then there's a bit where there's a slug named Romeo and a bird named Juliet in a tragic star-crossed love on the battlefield, and you need to reunite them in this extremely fun magic seed platforming puzzle, where different platforms grow in different soil, and when you want the seed back, the soil clenches like a bumhole, and after solving the puzzle, Juliet sounds like this.
Romeo, wherefore art thou, Romeo? Oh, there's Romeo.
There's just so many fantastic moments here. How about that mission where you have to get the professor's pencil back by trading an egg with a nest that spits out a seed to go into a plant pot that spits out a rubber duck that goes with a duck family to give you a turnip? What? Okay. Which then needs to go into a cauldron which spits out a coin that goes into a water fountain that gives you a very soggy pencil. It's so good, man. And how about the secret agent that sounds like, I'm a secret agent. And when he's looking around to make sure you aren't following him, he does that. That is how I'm looking around for things for the rest of my life. And the robots in Metropolis, they're adorable. Listen to them.
These elevators need serious work, see?
Even the bosses are an improvement. There's only 3 this time, but it doesn't matter because they all make up for the wet jokes that were in Spyro 1. They actually have attacks. They're fun fights, and in Gulp's case, even a little bit challenging. This is one of the better bosses in the whole Spyro series, actually. As great as Simon 2 is, though, I don't think it's perfect. In fact, there's a couple of major real low points for me. This is way too hot. A mission in Hurricos where you have to put lightning stones into power generators and then have to defeat the thieves that keep removing them and throwing them around the level. I mean, look, I'm very glad that I finally get some representation. But man, does this take forever. It isn't difficult, just immeasurably boring. This part here where you need to flame fish into this angry tiki's mouth, I can't stand this bit. You need to get 10 fish in his mouth, and any red fish reset the counter by like 1 billion fish. But by the time you see the yellow ones and decide that they're the ones to flame, it's too late to flame and you miss the mouth. So you end up prematurely hitting flame all the time, thinking that you're flaming a yellow fish, but it's actually a red fish, and then, oh god, not that one, Spyro the Drag-Off! Nowadays, I just cheat this bit by looking directly into the water in first-person mode to see what fish is coming. Well, is it cheating? I'm just using what the game gives me. I'm a good boy. I wash under my arms. And of course, there's another bit, which is possibly the most infamous part of the whole game. But before we get there, I just have to ask you a quick question. trouble with the trolley. Okay, well actually, get ready for me to be a contrarian. This isn't hard. It's not easy, but it's really not that bad. I don't know what you're talking about, you whinging wets. In fact, while recording footage for this video, I finished the mission first time and then had to start the mission again and deliberately blow up in order to record the guy saying,
Trouble with the trolley, eh?
I mean, I don't know what to add. It just isn't that hard. And you know what else isn't? The turtle soup mission. Yeah, I said it. What's the big deal? Just keep looping around the pipes that they spawn from and then knock the turtles away if you come across them. They'll bounce all over the place and it gives you plenty of time to get them back in the water. What's the big deal, you baby bitch buggers? And the dinosaur egg hatching and eating the village people. Yeah, sure, I failed this one like once or twice, but once you get the pattern down, it's just like Simon Says, but if Simon only had 8 Simon noises for you to copy, and then Simon played the same Simons every time you Simon. And what about the bombing genie mission in Scorch? Not a big deal either. Did it on my first go. Here's a tip for you if you're struggling. Stop charging after him and stick to the wall so that you avoid most of the bombs bouncing off of them. You can't rush this bit, just go slowly, especially around the steps. You're gonna hate it if you try charging, trust me.
Nah, mate, you wanna know what the worst mission of the game is?
Will you escort me past those Earth Shapers?
No! How about instead you suck my nads? I hate this. I hate this so much. So you've got this motherless goat who has a potion to give Hunter because he wasted his month's rent on a new pair of concrete Nikes, and even though the goat is literally next door to where Hunter is, he momentarily forgets how to steer his own legs and ends up going on a cross-country marathon instead, deliberately walking right into all of the enemies, changing his mind on where he's going all the time, getting in the way of you, rushing around, and you can't get rid of the enemies. All you can do is knock them back temporarily, so getting them all out of the way of him in advance won't work. And the best thing, the 10 out of 10 game of the year best thing that happens is that if you finish this mission, Hunter then says, thanks for getting me out, Spyro, but you need to learn a new move to help me kill all of these monsters, so come back and find me again when you learn it. So you carry on playing the game, learn the move, come back to the level to help out Hunter, and he couldn't wait 5 minutes to put his Adidas stones back on, meaning you've got to do the first part of the mission all over again? What's that? I already have this orb? I had no idea. But anyway, you finish the game and do everything. You get the orbs, grab the talismans, run away from this horrific face, and wonder who decided to bring back the bush munchers from Spyro 1 so you can place an Aztec curse on their family. You finally beat Ripto, and he just accepts his death. Oh, screw it, I can't win. Everybody celebrates, Hunter sits on Moneybag's face, and we finally go on a holiday in a lovely final cutscene.
It isn't a cutscene. I got you.
Dragon Shores is the final level that is literally just a fun fair that rewards you with tickets in order to unlock a theater to watch the game's cutscenes again. Internet. You play a game of water dunking, ride a roller coaster with a cannon to pop balloons, go to a duck shooting gallery, and never question why the biggest enemies from the first game are now welcoming you into a dark room inside a theme park with no one else in it. And you know what? I also really like the little love boat tunnel because it taught all the kids that played this game that you can love whoever you want. You can love the same gender. You can find love even if you're a smelly, hairy yeti. If that's not your style, you can be on your own. You can have a 3-way, what? You can love children, excuse me? And after all of this, if you found every gem and every orb in the game, you unlock a door that grants you a permanent super breath attack, which is now obsolete because the game is already over. Screw off.
Unless you do a Tiger Woods. And cheat.
Yeah, just quit the game and then start a new game that overwrites the completed save file, and voila, you now have super breath from the minute you start the game. How sick is that? And that's not all that you can cheat. Do you want to make Simon look like he has leprosy? Because you can do that. What? That's still not enough? Well, how about a big head mode? Yeah, you can do that too.
Finally, a game character just for me.
What? Is that still not enough? Well, how about this? You put Spyro in a trouser press. The end.
Okay, so where are we? We've done 1, 2, 3. Oh, look everyone, it's my good friend Face.
We are now on game number 3, which is how many straws I need to drink my orange juice.
Ha! You are so full of fact. Give me another one.
Most people buy 1 face wash, but I have to buy 3.
You are full of surprises, Face, and so is this game.
Oh boy, everyone, it's Simon 3. Yay, a donut! The final in the original classic trilogy made by Insomniac Games, and what a fitting developer, because as a kid, Spyro 3 made me into an Insomniac. I adore Spyro 3 with every nerve ending, and every time I pop it in, it makes me wanna... with the sound of... 6-year-old me played this game until he ate his own hands off. True story. It's the best game of the original trilogy to me, without a doubt. I know people think it's the second one, but this game has a kangaroo doggy paddling in a lake. You're wrong. Is it because of nostalgia? Yes. Oh, sweet. You can pick your save file icon now? I don't know. You're right. Banana! So to kick things off, even though I love Spyro 2's characters, I was never really fussed about Ripto or whatever his beef was. I didn't find him that funny, that entertaining, or that endearing, which made me not really care about what he was planning to do. But this time, I actually kind of cared about what was going on. You've got this haggard old minger called the Sorceress, who's so hefty you could send her out to the front line, and her apprentice, Bianca, who have decided to steal all of the baby dragon eggs that came from all of the adult male dragons. Very progressive, Spyro 3. Well done. And instead of stealing them and taking them back to their secret lair, they decide to just leave the eggs all over the damn place for anyone to find. Good plan, guys. I'm sure this won't rear up and ram into you.
Those eggs belong to us now, and I've hidden them in places you'll never find in 1,000 years.
The first egg is right next to where she was standing, and that means that this game's collectathon bread and butter are these dragon eggs this time, used to unlock more of the game. And the eggs are just so giddy over being found that they birth right in front of you, with no mess. Did that bow form in the uterus? You also have these baby dragons that don't like being caught unawares, and... Does this mean the dragons have genets? Now, somebody as nasty as this old bint stealing all of these adorable little babies is bad enough and already makes her appear more like a threatening Cruella de Vil, except scaly and large. But as the game goes on, you then discover she wants to kill them all and rip off their wings for a new spell she's working on. It's not even like she wants to eat them to keep herself alive or anything like that. She just wants to kill them so she can try a new magic trick. If that's not evil, I don't know what is. This causes Bianca to change her mind about being evil, takes her hood off, and that makes Hunter go... You're a fine-looking woman! Taking that all aside, though, I also really appreciate how much more the gameplay and story are integrated together. There's way more cutscenes showing off what a cow the Sorceress is, which builds up to her final boss really nicely. Throughout the whole game, Bianca keeps appearing out of nowhere and taunting you. And even with the levels in each world, instead of just going through each of them, helping the people out, and then getting a magical thing to open a door to get closer to the final boss, instead you go to the levels, help the creatures out, and then as thanks, they all work together to build you a new transport method to get to the next area where you can find more hidden dragon eggs. When Hunter gets kidnapped halfway through the game, for a brief amount of time, all of his side missions and all the levels are unavailable. So come on, get on your ass and save him so you can come back and get more dragon eggs. Everything you do in Spyro 3 has a reason, and it just fits into place better, you know? As for the game itself, well, everything that Spyro 2 did to improve on Spyro 1 is here. Everything from the controls to the weird and wonderful character designs that talk to you like they're grazing in a field. Hello. I'm Steak. Did you ever wonder where your milk came from? Yeah, me too. But in my humble opinion, it's just Spyro 2 Plus. It's Spyro 2, but even better. Not by much, they're still both incredible games, but this one beats it out for me just slightly. I mean, yeah, they removed the charming intro and outro level cutscenes, which does mean some of the levels start with, "There are Rhynocs everywhere! Kill them!" and end with, "Here, take this egg." But everything else for me was chipped off and polished into the ultimate Simon experience. The camera is panned just a little further back to let you see more of what's around you. None of the temporary power-ups are gated off by enemy defeats. You can stop skating while ice skating now. They brought back way more long gliding platforming sections and secrets that Spyro 1 had, alongside more chances to supercharge than Spyro 1 and 2. Every character around you reacts to being set on fire now, which is a lot better than Spyro 2, where they just stand there, defiantly. Walk away, bitch! You know, not that I flame the characters that much anyway, because so many of them are too adorable and I just want to help them out with their problems.
Our sun has gone out.
Well shit, you're dead. They even added races to the classic Speedway obstacle levels. They're really boring, yeah. Oh, also, Sparks the Dragonfly talks now. I love it. Moneybags came back and he's still a festering wart. Although he doesn't sound like a drunk anymore.
I can let you into the little castle over there in exchange for a few gems.
And now sounds like this.
Spyro! My, how funny to see you here.
He's more like a naughty, jovial uncle that tries to sell his nieces and nephews the warm, opened, sticky sweets from his pocket. You know, bollock sweet. So yeah, he's back to make your life miserable, and so is the caveman with his skeleton friend who's lost all his bones. And yes, he even does the bone dance again. Although this time, he goes on for so long that the regular stage music comes back in the middle of it. It's perfect. You know what? I don't like this Cloud either. Even when you complete his mission and make him happy, the best he can give you is this terrible face. But Moneybags does a little bit more this time instead of just ripping you off to get through doors. Get this. Now he works for the main villain. In fact, he comes right out the gate the first time you see him and just says the sorceress is paying him to be a tool. And he's standing guard for a collection of new animal buddies with their own stages that are fully playable. And once you buy them off of him, you can visit older levels that have their locked doors inside to then get in and find even more gameplay scenarios to make you go, wow, there's more gameplay scenarios. People often feel a bit like these are desperate ideas from a creatively spent development team, but I couldn't disagree more. They're desperate ideas from a creatively strong development team. First off is Sheila the Kangaroo, an adorable little muppet that takes the standard gameplay and flips it on its side to be about vertical height exploration more than long-distance gliding. And I find her levels extremely fun whenever you launch into the air and smash downwards. And according to the Reignited trilogy, she isn't female unless she has pigtails and a vag. Next up is Sergeant Bird. And just like that, with the wave of my wand, you're a secret spy just like James Bond. He is an MI5 flying penguin agent with rockets on his shoulders, and I find his parts fine. Not the best and not the worst. In open explorative bits with free flying all over the stage, he's a joy, and I appreciate how you can toggle on a below view for aiming drop missiles while still having full control of flight. But in tight spaces, it's like trying to fit an apple in a nostril. Then we have Bentley, a friendly Yeti who for some reason is also a London Cockney.
I genuflect to my noble deliverer.
Ding dong! Hello, you I'll have a Jack and Coke on the rocks, and don't worry, I bought my own ice. My ice popped.
I don't dislike him whatsoever, but he is my least favourite character to play as, purely because he walks just a little bit too slow for me. I love how he stomps around and smashes everything without any effort and reflects projectiles, but a little bit more speed would have been appreciated. Not to mention, he's so big that he blocks off the screen from the dragon that you just saved. Move it! And lastly, there's Jim Carrey Monkey, who uses a rebounding laser gun, grenades, strafing, and first-person sniper shots to get through his sections. I like these a lot. They're good fun, especially when you find his most powerful weapon, the Child Beard Gun. Plus, in those hidden Speedway bonus levels, you get to do them as Hunter. And that makes them better and more fun than Spyro 2 because it does, and you are listening to me. And hey, did you know that the first ever water birth in a video game was in Spyro 3? Yeah, I'm not joking. Here it is. Welcome to planet Earth, kid. That's what your lungs filling up with water feels like. Alongside all the animal buddies Simon can save for extra gameplay, you can even control Sparks for the first time ever in his own top-down explorative shooting sections, which I really enjoy as well. You can boost, strafe, use limited power-ups all over the place, and when you finish each one, you unlock a new permanent ability for Spyro, like pointing Sparks towards the direction of missing gems, an absolute godsend, or giving yourself one extra hit before losing a life. Sure, there's parts which aren't perfect.
Ow! I went boom again.
But there's literally nothing I dislike in this game or don't look forward to. Nothing. The worst part in any single Spyro game that's ever been released is in Spyro 3. Yes, I'm not exaggerating. Spyro 2 has more low points, but this single low point in 3 topples all of them on its own. The boxing match with Bentley and this filthy rat is utterly unplayable. You're supposed to have 3 attacks and a block, but absolutely none of these moves come out when you need them to. Either the delay is way too much, or Bentley is way too slow. Whatever the case, this stinking piss rag is able to perform every move at twice the speed as you, and somehow manages to combo when you're unable to, and blocks nearly every attack you perform like he's reading your mind. Hit him, goddamn hit him, Bentley, why are you missing him? Don't make me call you by your passport name! I could go on all day about this abominable challenge, especially when you win 1 egg for beating it once, but then need to survive for 3 rounds for a second egg, and come out the other end with the most health, which if you aren't deathly lucky, will take you over half an hour, and it's enough to give me a Diane Weist infection. Now ask yourself this, if a video game about a platforming purple dragon came out in the year 2000, what will it add into it to make it immediately much better? That's right, skateboarding. I shit you not, there's Spyro, the magical fantasy medieval dragon, on a skateboard in space. This is the most long john backwards ass thing I think I've ever seen, but man, I just don't care. It's so much fun, especially the races when you have to keep doing tricks mid-air to build up a speed boost. How can you not love this? Look at him go! That's how I feel about Simon 3 as a whole, actually. It can get pretty stupid, but I just don't care because I'm having too much fun with it. And even if I'm not completely enamored with some of the new stuff, it doesn't matter because most of the game is you and Simon. And the increased charging and gliding segments for his gameplay specifically when compared to Spyro 2 are great enough for me to not mind the more experimental angles. My copy of the game is so overplayed and so loved that some of the eggs won't hatch for ages. Sometimes Boss 1 just gets stuck and won't stop pulling off this sick flip. Hello? What do I do? Help! Sheila, look at this. Can you believe this shit? And Spyro very frequently violates personal space.
Be sure to keep your friend Sparks the Dragonfly healthy, Spyro.
And do you mind getting your nose out of my dress? Wow. And it's even better when Sheila is listening to someone and she's all like, "Duh." This bit always gets a laugh out of me. In the mission where you have to protect the ice skater and you mess it up, the enemies end up playing hockey with her. You can even go to Rome and set fire to the Pope. Okay, you can't do that. But you can skate in the Roman Colosseum, though. That makes up for it, I will admit. There's also these penguins here in frozen altars with these voices that I can't decide if they're horrifying or a massive turn-on.
It would be easy to get up to that treasure if you had something to stand on.
Yeah, they're horrifying.
Purr. I don't know why, but I feel really cold.
I swear they are this close to starring in a Netflix serial killer biopic. Oh, and the music this time? My Christ, the music this time? The music in this game just makes me want it. This is one of my favorite video game soundtracks ever, of all time, period. It's everything that made Spyro 2 music so great, but amped up to 11. It's catchier, more percussive and rhythmic, groovier, more varied in genres, and every time I hear any track from it, I go... I mean, Agent 9's theme alone completely slaps. How many PS1 soundtracks, nay, how many video game soundtracks in general can you say have a song in it that's in 7/8 time signature? I'm sorry, everyone. I was just listening to Velcro ASMR. The bosses are pretty good too. There's more of them than in Spyro 2, and they all look and feel completely different from each other. Not to mention, I think they all look pretty threatening as well, which is a plus. This guy used to terrify me as a kid. That face gives me a heart attack. I hate it. One tries to knock you back into lava and then sneezes fire at you. One tries to shoot you with ammo that you can steal from him and use back at him. One flies around the arena, showering you with attacks and other enemies to chase you, and is only vulnerable while moving instead of being stationary. And the sorceress herself is like a mix of all of them together, but now with the added bonus of using temporary vehicles to blow her up. And that's more or less how this all ends. After you've done your best sitting there for 3 hours watching the professor do this.
No.
Aha! Putting up with Hunter's bullshit.
Thanks. Did you bring any chips?
And saving all the dragons like Mingus. Mingus? What kind of name is that? Actually, fair enough. He looks like a Mingus. Bianca becomes a good guy. You beat the sorceress by shooting her in the goddamn head. Then Hunter and Bianca become a couple.
Ugh, guys, get a read.
I don't want to see this shit. This is a kid's game. There's not supposed to be any lewd in it. But just like any Simon game, we aren't done yet. After we grab every single gem and dragon egg in the game, we unlock one final endgame stage. We've been to Nasty's loot, we've been to Dragon Shores, and now our next stop is Super Bonus Round. That's an awful name.
But you know what it does mean? Yes, everybody, it's time for a surprise, I was about to say a surprise Mexican bounce round. What?
In all fairness though, I think this is the best reward of all the games. It calls back to Nasty's loot in terms of it being another actual level, but now there's way more treasure to steal, way more ways of interacting with the stage, way more interesting things to see, places to explore. It's a great unlockable final level, and then this follows on to the true final boss, the sorceress. Again.
I don't know how she did it, Spyro, but the sorceress must have survived that last battle.
Yeah, I don't know either. It's almost like they ran out of ideas, and the worst thing is that she doesn't even come back stronger or angrier. She came back on her mobility scooter. This is honestly not a very good hidden boss, but you know, it's not Spyro 1, so I don't mind. Goodbye, Grandma. And as for the super secret 100% hidden ending, it is just that. And that's why this is the best game ever. I'm not kidding either. I treasure Spyro 3. It has an adorable wolf puppy you can play fetch with. It has breets. It has a bit where you play Doom. It has a Matrix reference.
I mean, who wasn't doing a Matrix reference in the year 2000?
It has cowboy dinosaurs. I mean, do you have any cowboy dinosaurs? If you do, can I come over and see them? It has the ultimate revenge fantasy that surpasses Kill Bill by letting you chase down Moneybags at the end of the game and burn his completely flame-resistant pants in order to steal all of your gems back from him. And in conclusion, it has the best sound effect of all time.
So I think it's safe to say Spyro 3 really is the Year of the Dragon. Well, what a perfect little trilogy for the PlayStation. I'm sure glad it stopped there and they didn't try anything else.
Knock, knock, open up the door.
Hello, Caddy.
Oh, shave my back. It's my evil twin brother, Baddie.
I bought something for you.
Oh, for me? You should have. I deserve it.
You know, I'm starting to think that Baddie isn't actually all that bad. I mean, you know, after all, who goes out of their way to gift you a jigsaw puzzle? I wonder what's on it.
Oh my god, I can't believe it.
It's me, and that means they made another Spyro game.
Spyro, Enter the Dragonfly. No thanks. So after Insomniac Games left the franchise behind for Ratchet & Clank, we've now got Check 6 and Equinox teaming up to push this one out on the GameCube and PS2. As for the Xbox, and after they made Enter the Dragonfly, the reviews were so great, they closed down forever. Before anything else, I want to direct you to the demo screen of this game after you leave the start menu running a while, and you are going to watch it with me in its entirety. Ooh, these are nice flowers. Who am I gonna pick for this save game then? Ooh. So the game begins and we get our first cutscene. Yeah, this looks good. Nothing to see here. It all looks top form. This is exactly like an interactive electronic video game. Also, this cutscene cacks. It goes on forever and it really has no right to. Do you want me to paraphrase exactly what happens in this entire cutscene? Wow, isn't everything great? Hello, my G's. Oh no, it's Ripto. What are you doing here? That's a good question. Yeah, it is a good question. What are we doing here? What do you mean, what are we doing here? If you ask me one more question, I'm going to skin you. Now, where was I? Oh yes, that's that's a good question. I'm here because Yeah, that is more or less exactly how this cutscene plays out. It's just a massive, one-sided conversation with Ripto and absolutely nobody else while they all just stand there and let him steal all of these baby dragonflies. You all deserve to lose everything you care about and watch all that you love turn to dust. After that, we all get an uncomfortable look into Bianca's flesh mouth, and then off we go to save the dragonflies. Or else the other dragons won't be able to use them as human shields. And they have all sorts of cute names, like Bonky.
Hey, it's Fluffy.
That's weird, because dragonflies aren't fluffy.
Hey, it's Sandra.
It's Sam.
Oh my spoiled custard. Is this how the game runs? Is the whole game going to run like this? Well, then someone had better catch it then. Come on, Simon, exit my dartboard. Why are you like this? Are you dying? Oh no, there's an ice gate that can only be opened by ice breath. Yeah, alright. So here's the thing, collecting the dragonflies is the main mission in this game, but it is much easier to do than you think, because, yeah, the game is broken. Nah, it's not just broken, it's been shattered into 1,000 pieces. Infamously, you can even finish the entire game in less than 10 minutes by swimming through a hole in a net, flying over to the center of the hub world, and then pissing straight into the final boss portal.
I like winning!
Now, many years ago, I made a dedicated video about Enter the Dragonfly. And I was a puss. I didn't actually bother playing the game. I just broke it, finished it in 10 minutes, and then shoved out a lazy joke video to cover my electric bill. But this time, no such excuses. I played it legit, from start to end. So now I can confidently say, without a doubt, the game is still shat. I mean, ostensibly, the game is the same as Spyro 1, 2, and 3, but instead of refining or going forward, it takes things away. Simon 1 had 6 hub worlds, Simon 2 had 3, Simon 3 had 4, and this game has one hub world. And not only that, it also has 8 levels. 8 levels in total. Simon 3 had 21 Simons and Dartboard only has 8. Sure, they are much bigger than previously, and they do things like putting speedway courses inside those levels to beef up a single level instead of split them up. But it also means that there isn't as much visual variety, way too many flat and gaping chasms of spaces where a level should be, barely any gliding challenges aside from like 3 levels, and despite you having new power-ups to unlock in the forms of different elemental breaths, which is an idea I do love, there is only one single instance of returning to an older level to find something new with an unlocked breath, and all it involves you doing is grabbing kites by standing on children's heads. This also means the music is pretty limited in comparison to the PS1 games too, and I'm not sure why, but despite it being the same composer, it sounds like it's falling asleep most of the time. I don't think the music's bad necessarily, it's just too atmospheric and rich for its own good, especially for a game that looks like this. Can't deny though, Cloud9 is a tune. Not to mention, the game is insultingly easy. I breezed through most of it without even thinking about it. Check out this mission from the halfway point of the game.
Great! Hey, it's Takahiro!
And of course, I'm sure you've all noticed by now, the lag. Now, I can handle a bit of lag, that's not a problem, but what I can't handle is when the lag starts making things run in slow motion.
Because when things start running in slow motion, I can't even tell anymore if I'm jumping or giving birth.
No, don't worry. Your video is not buffering or dropping frames, and you don't have cataracts. This is how the game looks. All the time. It never stops. I almost want to get a cheerleading squad in there to encourage it to run properly, and on many occasions it gets so close, but just can't quite get there. Come on, Simon! You can do it! You can do it! You can do— Oh. And in some of the speedway missions and tank battles, it goes beyond PowerPoint presentation slides. It's like looking at a newspaper. It's a necessary evil though, team, because we need to include the fog. And grass physics. If there was ever a game I wanted to dive under the hood of and see what the hell is going on with it, it would be Enter the Dragonfly. And even if the game didn't run like a crusty pair of jeans, the whole thing still feels like it's underwater. Movement is so slow and extremely floaty. The gems take 3 years to hit the ground after you break them out of baskets, and oh man, oh geez, are you a go. I don't mind the general graphics and the level aesthetics, sometimes it can be quite nice, but what is it with these mouth animations? Is your face trying to run away from itself? You can't just take the low poly PS1 Toasty Maker mouths and then smooth them out for the PS2. It was charming back in 1999, but in 2002 it all looks like a pair of old socks. And on top of all of that, as you could quite clearly see earlier, the game isn't finished.
Spyro!
And I'm not talking about the gameplay removals either. Technically, it's a disaster as well. Have you ever played a game where there's a loading screen? To load a loading screen. Spyro has no drop shadow, making gliding a total pain in the sphinx. Enemies don't attack you. Spyro gives up walking and just floats everywhere. The progression atlas disappears and turns black. Spyro gets stuck in ladders. Charging decides to stop working entirely. Sound effects disappear at random. The wing deflect move you unlock, aside from only being needed for one single part of the game, doesn't even make its target when you do need it. Spyro loves to do these random falling animations after charge jumps and completely stop you in your tracks mid-air. The camera controls often stop working entirely whenever you move. The camera forgets that it's supposed to be looking at you all the time. Sparks just refuses to eat butterflies when he desperately needs them for extra hit points. The Spitfire machine gun needs to be tapped over and over again to fire instead of just held down. Your flame breath sometimes doesn't attack at all. The characters are always turning into statues, especially during dialogue. Uh-oh, he stopped. Can someone put a pound in him? Then there's my favorite one. Whenever you're in the tank, you're able to twist the turret with the shoulder buttons whenever you're stationary. But then when you start moving, you're allowed to twist the turret left, but then twisting it right stops working, only when you're moving. This game is incredible. And taking the coding issues out of the way and the gameplay being stripped back from the PS1 days, the game's also unfinished in other weird ways, like with good old Rage Against the Machine Bag, who only appears one single time in the entire game on level 1 and never comes back, which is probably for the best because I don't like your cultural appropriation. And there's this bit where you talk to a monkey, finish a sliding mission, get a dragonfly, and then the game makers forgot to make the monkey offer you an extra dragonfly for doing the mission again on hard mode, so Sparks just turns around to you and says, "Oh, wait a second, there's another dragonfly mission here, but the monkey forgot to tell you about it, so do you want to do the slide again?" Oh, and speaking of Sparks, most of the time he has the same voice in Spyro 3 that I love dearly. Except for one single instance when Spyro insults him and he outright just says the word "Hi!" You can look up reviews of this game when it first came out on the internet, but honestly, I don't think it's possible to review this game. They're all just encyclopedias of everything wrong with it.
Hey, it's Shadow!
So when all is said and done and you can't stomach it any longer, you end up at the final boss, Ripto. Oh no, wait, I meant the only boss, Ripto. What is this game's daddy issues? And the boss itself is... well, it's on brand, I'll give it that. Also worth mentioning that if you start this fight off, you have bricked your save file and can never leave the fight until you beat the game. So if you're going for 100%, do not go into the boss portal, you'll never come back. The fight itself is pretty but the best thing about it is that after you beat him, you get this cutscene. Yes, Enter the Dragonfly genuinely feels like a load of people got together in a meeting, one person came in and said, "Hey guys, I've got 8 new Spyro level ideas," and the rest of the team said, "Thank you." That is all. It is sadly the first of quite a few Spyro games that doesn't make me go. In fact, the game is so bad, I don't even think any children's TV presenters on CBBC would take a paycheck to advertise it to kids. The only major drops of praise I can give this game are that it gives you the ability to warp to any level right from the pause menu once you've already visited it. The sliding missions are admittedly a lot more fun than Spyro 3, and above all, at least it isn't racist.
Tiki tiki unga boom! Diggy diggy lolo.
Oh. Okay. By the way, guys, you can keep your trouble with the trolley, eh? Shit. The one phrase I had to hear at least 6 goddamn times over was, "Defend the Puffy Palace?" This dog fight is dog bad. The enemy planes can drain your health in seconds, they're too hard to hit, there's no aiming reticle, and the battleships take at least 1,000 missiles to take down. And after every 30 seconds of each failed attempt, I got thrown back to the goddamn defend the Puffy Palace! The only way I could win this mission is by giving the battleships a good old ram over and over again while spamming the ever-loving hell out of the missile button, because that's fun, isn't it? Actually, yes it is, especially if it means avoiding
defend the Puffy Palace.
The most annoying thing about Exit My Dartboard, though, is that the base is definitely there. I can see a started game. I can see a natural extension from PS1 Spyro to PS2 Spyro. It's extremely close to being a competent, simple, yet effective bit of comfort food, like a peanut butter sandwich, except it's a peanut butter sandwich that has the bread, but replace the peanut butter with more bread. That's what this is. Spyro 4 is a bread sandwich. Oh, and who in Satan's pantry signed off on this credits image? I mean, I like it, it's funny. Wait a second, is your name Two-Eyed Willy?
Thing is though, I didn't just decide to play every level and beat the game. I decided to beat it all. I completed this game 100%. I got everything. I did everything just for the chance of having an extra cool hidden bonus ending thing, just like in all the other 3 Spyro games. And what did I get here? I got a secret ending cutscene. And what was it?
Well, everything is finally back to normal. Isn't it, Spyro?
Spyro Enter the Dragonfly makes me want to piss the bed. Well, that was a huge waste of living. I wish I didn't have to sit on a sofa and commit to playing a bad game on a giant TV, you know? Why can't I just play classic Spyro whenever I want, wherever I want? Now, son, turn that frown upside down because Spyro the Dragon went portable. Part 2. You're a bit small, aren't you? Yes, everyone. Even though the start of the PS2 was a bit of an old egg for the Dragon, Simon seemed to flourish on the Game Boy Advance for multiple games before the next mainline console title, starting off with Simon Silly Old Ink. Look at it. It's Spyro, all right. He's running, he's jumping, he's flaming, he's charging, he's gliding, he's even hovering. It's just like classic Spyro, but now you can't see it. This is Season of Ice, with Digital Eclipse being the ones who made it, and before they even started making the game, they had to leap over one major obstacle.
It doesn't fit.
So if they were going to make a Simon game fit into a GBA,
the sacrifices must be made.
As you can see, it is pretty close to PS1 Simon, but with a shitload of cubes, so if you like cubes, you're gonna love this. With it being a Game Boy Advance game, you can't see much of the screen around you, there's tons of moments you'll get hit off screen and die instantly, it's difficult to tell sometimes what height things are for longer glides, but all things considered, they did a great job here. Is what I would be saying, but the problem is I don't really like Season of Ice. And no, it's not just because they brought Moneybags back, he doesn't even carry bags of cash anymore, he's on Visa. The controls are pretty tight, you can do most of the moves you're accustomed to, you collect gems and find hidden items, you save a main collectible to keep unlocking the rest of the game, this time being fairies. Getting extra lives is as simple as burning small animals and it only takes 3, 7, or 40 of them. Even Sparks has his own levels again that feel right at home on the GBA. The core is here, but everything around it is all mushy and smelly. The charge is way too quick for the screen size, and if you ever use it for more than a few seconds, there's a 95% chance you're getting prune skin. And yes, you can use the left trigger to look around you, but that's only when you're standing dead still. So whenever you move into another part of the game, you will not see what's coming up unless you keep stopping, looking, and then moving a few steps forward. Oh, leave me alone, you rag! And in the cruelest twist of fate, if you die, you lose all of your progress in the level except for the gems and enemy defeats. There's no checkpoints at all, and with levels like these where everything looks the damn same, trying to re-find treasure chest keys that then stick into a treasure chest you have no clue where it was before, or re-finding all of the optional items to burn around the level for an extra fairy is utterly miserable. Made even worse when you were killed unfairly by an off-screen attack, or whenever Spyro gets hit in general and decides to slide backwards for like 5 hours until he falls right into his tomb. Oh, and even if you don't manage to die and complete objectives that involve exploring these copy-paste box factories, you get forcibly teleported to the middle of Dickville nowhere and then need to figure out how to get back to where you were before. I don't know what square I was at before, the game has no map to tell me. I can't do this all on my own, I'm not Biden, but at the absolute very least, you can do this. And I'm sure there's a million other things I forgot to mention about this game. And while I'm whining about a 21-year-old game that nobody cares about, the bosses suck too. This is Grendor, the main villain. He appears twice. You fight him twice. He has a head. Twice. Who is he? What's his breakage? Why should I care? Why does Grendor sound like a cough syrup? I don't know, but I can give him credit for giving us a break from all of the cubes in the game by throwing balls at us instead. There's also these speedway levels in the game that are visually impressive and try to stay as faithful to the PS1 speedways as possible, and I don't mind these, but they share the same problem with the rest of the game, being that they're all the same. The visuals are the same, the challenges are the same, the level designs are the same, the bosses are the same. This is Spyro, sameson of same. And then, for the cherry on top of this cake of potato and wee, you can only unlock the second boss, that is, the final boss, by beating the game 100%. Thanks for the reward of letting me finish the game by having to treat it like Elon Musk's hairline and comb it back to front. And the ending of the game, no joke, is Grendor having his two-headed problem fixed, followed by, okay, I'm sorry. Bye! And then the final insult to close it all off is that you unlock a bonus Sparks game, which is just asteroids, but with this face. Merry Christmas.
You know what? I'm shocked. As a kid, I used to love this game. But now I just agree with his bullies. I don't want to play with this thing anymore.
No, wait, don't get rid of it yet.
Oh, hello. Look, everybody. It's Wallace Big. What are you doing here?
I have a good game for you on the Game Boy. Don't give up on it now.
Why are you shouting? You're already massive.
Here, take this. It is usually much smaller, but in my big hand it is much bigger because I am so big.
Wow. Thank you so much, Wallace Big. He's big, ain't he?
So first off, we had Simon, silly old ink, and now we have Simon 2. Silly old fish. Gotta say, right now, I love this box art. It's incredible. Gone are the days of creative collages of characters and colourful new worlds. No, we're just gonna have face. And before I get into the nitty-gritty, I can definitely say out the gate that not only is Spyro 2 GBA so much better than the first one, but it's also actually probably one of my favorite GBA games of all time. No, I'm not pulling you. This is an unironically great game, and it's the first time for a few games now that I can finally say makes me go The idea is the same as the first, and from the initial glance, it looks exactly the same, but trust me, it's far from it. I mean, look, it has slopes. First off, the controls are way better. You've got more mid-air control while jumping, you move slightly slower while running and charging, but that just makes it way easier to charge everywhere without running off the stage. The camera moves automatically towards the direction you move, giving you more chance to see what's coming. They brought the changing elemental breaths back from Enter the Dragonfly for different styles of attack and puzzle solving. And yeah, there's puzzles now. It's not just a run around and pick everything up spiel. You have side missions with different things to do, more secrets to explore, money bags is... There's no more repetitive speedway shooting sections, and instead, these Sheila and Agent 9 levels that offer totally different and fun gameplay styles, like side-scrolling run and gun missions, which I really get a kick out of, or isometric, slower-paced puzzle platforming. And Sheila's dialogue face looks like There's power-up gates now for extra powerful breath attacks for further puzzles, or even new ways of exploring the better designed levels. And if you get lost, oh my god, there's a map! Which shows you where you are, blacks out the areas you haven't explored yet, and even shows you where level doorways are on the hub world. Sliding backwards when getting hit has been totally removed, which is great enough on its own, but even if you do die, it doesn't matter because all of your collection progress during the level is saved, except for the treasure chest key. Why? And you don't go back to the beginning of the level because there are checkpoints throughout now. And the music, oh, the music is so... Along with doing new and different things in each stage, whenever you do complete a mission, you also don't get randomly picked up and spat out on a bit of dirt 3 miles away from where you just were. And you even collect fireflies in this game, which is class. It's way better than collecting lame-ass fairies. I don't want to collect them. What do I look like, a wuss? They always get in your hair and... oh... So itchy. Oh my head. There aren't only more bosses to fight, but there are also Crush, Gulp, and Ripto from Spyro 2. Not my favorites, but still more familiar and better executed than whatever this thing is that can service two at once.
You know what else I noticed? Sparks keeps wanting to say ass and the game never lets him. He's always just about to say it, but then the game chickens out like it's E for everyone or something. This will not do, Nintendo. Sparks needs his ass. Hashtag let Sparks say ass.
Literally everything wrong with Season of Ice is fixed here, and I couldn't be happier about that. Even the little things like each playable character flying back to the hub world is great. It's a flying ape. And character dialogue having these noises is great. It sounds like when I'm trying to fit on a tight boot. I also love to stand on moving platforms and hold the look button down. Bye-bye, Simon. The only part I really don't like is this one mission here when you've got to use electric breath to protect a mouse loading a rocket ship, mainly because for some baffling reason, the lightning breath just doesn't work, only in this part of the game too. But who cares? I can't be angry at the first video game ever to have a level made out of runny green cheese.
I think Todd is looking a little tired, don't you?
You don't have to 100% the whole game to finish it either, and if you do choose to 100% it, you unlock a bonus game from the main menu called Sparks Panic, which I thought he was doing in the other game. But now it's basically the exact same Sparks shooting you already know by this point, but it's wave-based now. And then you can even play Dragon Giraffes! Although, if you're playing with me, you don't play drafts. You lose it. Oh, I know that sound. Oh, you know, that's the great thing about Cash, isn't it? It doesn't matter wherever I go or whatever I do. He's always there. And that's what I love about him, is that he's never able to leave me alone. And you know what? That's fine with me. That's my lot in life. Crash and I, we're both linked at the hip. There's nothing that anybody can do about that. And wherever I go and whatever I do, he's always going to be there. That's totally fine with me. I've got no problem with it. And you know the small price to pay for such a great game? Every so often, you get a tiny tad of slowdown. But honestly, that really doesn't bother me. I like to look at Spyro 2 GBA like a little old man. Yeah, he may slow down occasionally, but he's got more wisdom to make up for it. And he hates foreigners. Well, Wallace Big, you weren't lying. This game actually turned out pretty great. So thanks so much for the wreck.
Ho 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 ho, well, you know.
No, I don't.
Bye.
Goodbye. Goodbye. No, great bye. Have a great bye. You're big.
I know, yes, it has its downsides, or should I say downsize. Ha!
So who wants to throw me the next game? Well, thank God, it's only taken 7 games and Spyro is finally going on an adventure. This is Spyro Adventure, also known as Attack of the Rhinox in the US, or as I like to call it, Simon. Awesome, I have rubella. Ooh, what's this? A mini game from the start? Bird rescue? Ooh, let's see what this is about.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
This is the 3rd game in the GBA series made by Digital Eclipse, and this one in particular eclipses the rest. And that's because this game tries something a little bit different. It's the standard GBA Simon fare, but now open world, and I really like this idea. In fact, no, I don't like it. I love it. There's individual large quests scattered around every level in the giant single hub world, and lots of backtracking when acquiring new power-ups to explore previously inaccessible areas to find more quest items that are needed in earlier stages. And this is all a great direction for the Portable series, except... Okay, so with the game being open now, the individual side levels are much smaller than the other games to compensate navigation. But even with a map, that doesn't mean much when trying to find characters for quest items is a total pain when all the NPCs look the damn same, and I don't remember who these people are or where the hell to find them. Is this guy over here Steve? How about you? Are you Steve? And this guy, are you Steve or are you Air Force Joe? This game takes the worst of ice and the best of flame and mixes them together to create... a load of wet. You'll find all of these multicolored chests all over the game that require keys that you need to find 2 halves of each scattered around the rest of the game. Once you assemble the key, you can then go back and unlock all of these chests of the same color across every level in the game. And there's no indication what levels they're in or whereabouts they are. Some are in side rooms, some are hidden on high platforms, and some are just laying around like dead cats. And I would just go ahead and not worry about them if they were all full of optional gems for the sake of 100% completion. But I can't ignore them because some chests have gems and some have extremely valuable items to further progress the game. Meaning that whether you like it or not, you have to go back through the whole game every single time you assemble a new key and find all of the chests in every level just in case you missed one with a quest item in it. And if the chest is hiding in one of the side rooms, you'd better pray it's not one of the ones that need 2 buttons being pressed at totally opposite points of the level under a time limit every single time you need to get into that side room. No, it doesn't stay open. You have to do this every single time. And then the chances are you get in there and you haven't got the right colored key yet. But unless you write it down, how are you gonna know? I'm a kid playing this on a Game Boy Advance in the back of my car trying not to throw up. I'm not gonna do any note-taking. I'm not a policeman. It's pretty cool that Agent 9 came back, you know, good for him, but he ended up trading his laser pistol for a Dyson, which is because instead of the fun and tricky run and gun segments from Season of Flame, these are slow and awkward stealth segments where if you get spotted one single time, you have to start over at the previous checkpoint. This whole system just slows everything down, and if you want to talk about slow, take a look at Sergeant Bird making his first playable debut on the G-Bap. Well, what in the shit is this? I didn't realize Spyro's new animal friend was polio. These sections suck, I'm sorry. All you do is hit the A button over and over again to ascend, shoot machines trying to attack you, and save soldiers that are dotted all over the place. You can either save one at a time and keep going back and forth, which takes absolutely forever, or collect multiple ones all at once at the cost of being slower, heavier, and meaning you have to ram the fly button even faster, like you're angrily showing your crewmates where the hidden gold is. It sounds the same, looks the same, and mostly feels the same, but Spyro Adventure for me is just way too lofty and open-ended for its own good without giving you the necessary tools to make it feel as fun to play as Season of Flame. Well, actually, I say that it sounds the same, but I take that back because the music this time is... On top of that, you fall through the floor more times than I think should legally be allowed. Agent 9's grappling hook does not work properly. Moneybags is now pink, and most of the missions are now just, "Well, Spyro, look out! A thief has stolen one of the dragon babies, and you've gotta stop him!" Yeah, alright. One of the things we need to save the world is in this safe that you can't get in. I'm in. Also, I think Moneybags now has a kid, which means I can't look at him anymore without knowing that someone rode him. Well, I don't know about you guys, but after playing all these GBA games, I'm getting sick of looking at squares. Can I please get a game that just has no squares in it for a change? I know, maybe there's one over to my left.
I can't believe those things you just said.
Oh, look everybody, it's my cousin Squaddy.
You shapist.
Oh, come on, Squaddy. I've been looking at squares all day. I just want to break from them.
Oh yeah, we'll take a break from this.
Oh, fun.
Hey, round boy, my face is up here.
Sorry, I just didn't realize you people were so violent. They made one more Spyro GBA game, known everywhere as Spyro Orange, the Cortex Conspiracy.
No.
Although it's more commonly known in the UK as Simon Fudge. And not only is this the final standalone Spyro game on the Game Boy that wasn't a port, and not made by Digital Eclipse, but it was also a crossover game. And a crossover game with another platforming juggernaut that you all know and love.
Is it Snoik?
No, Eggman. It's the one, the only... Mickey. Oh yeah, after years of suspense and build-up, teasing fans all over the world by Naughty Dog and Insomniac hiding Crash and Spyro demos in each other's PS1 games, the two best-known PlayStation mascots were finally getting together on a system that needed a lamp. And yes, this also means Spyro and Crash's villains team up too, this game having Ripto and Cortex as bad guys. And the story they have here is that Ripto and Cortex team up to stop Crash and Spyro, And look, oh my god, guys, there he is! Together on screen in the same game for the first time ever. It's Cashman! And we become best friends after a boss battle where Spyro stands still, does absolutely nothing, and murders Crash with Molotov cocktails. What I don't understand, though, is that if it worked in Spyro Orange, why doesn't it work for me on Tinder? What we have here is a Simon side-scroller, which, you know what, I'm not completely against. We've had 3 games of bastard squares taking all of our jobs! And now we have this. I'm fine with it. And we can run, jump, and... yes, we don't charge anymore and we don't glide. 2 of the things that made Simon Simon. A controversial move that I will never understand, but not as much as how I don't understand this. This is the replacement glide, everyone. Having a mid-air fit. And you know what? I wouldn't mind the lacking inclusion of 2 of Spyro's most defining things if the flame wasn't a useless spit on the floor that never hits any enemies, and if it didn't control as slippery as it does. You don't need to throw soup at Van Gogh to protest oil. Just make people play Spyro Orange and they'll never want to see oil again. I am barely just about to make the jumps on tiny platforms here, and most of the time I do, it isn't without jittering on the D-pad to land accurately because of just how oiled up the floor feels all over the game. It's worse than your local kebab shop. And once you mix already slippery controls with slippery ice in the ice world, just burn it, make it water, I'll drink it, I'll spit it out, I'll soak it up, and then I'll eat it. This can't be all the game is, though. And you're right, so what else do you do here? You find portals to mini-games, beat them, and that is it. Spyro Orange is a minigame collection in disguise, and not a very good one. This is what the game considers a fully fledged minigame. Do you want to play Breakout, but while the ball is on a tractor? Do you want to play a slow anti-gravity mech game where you collect 1 bullet at a time and fire 1 bullet at a time? Do you want to play an auto-scrolling flying shoot-'em-up stage where nothing happens? Do you want to play an auto-scrolling flying shoot-'em-up stage where nothing happens? Do you want to play an auto-scrolling tank shoot-'em-up stage when... oh, wait, sorry, let me just flip this over. Do you want to play an auto-scrolling flying shoot-'em-up? Repetition is this game's mantra, and even for the ones that don't copy each other or repeat, every single minigame here is dreadful. In fact, it can all be perfectly summed up by the first ever portal you jump into. Spyro very slowly jumping over holes in a Jeep. And that's it. That's the Spyro Orange experience condensed, and for the love of God, keep to the sides of all of the flying stages because the middle will always trap you into a game over that you can't see coming. Stay away from the center. Like a pizza. Nobody wants that bit. And some of these mini games go on for an eternity. But I don't need to tell you this. When me and my sister were kids, I got Crash Purple for Christmas while she got this, and she loved it, didn't you, Rosie? What? See? She's an idiot. I've never played a game before where the game itself feels like it doesn't care. I've never been more acutely aware of a game nearly reaching sentience and telling me itself it is bored. Spyro Orange is alive and wants you to end it. Even Moneybags doesn't give a shit here. All he does is ask for money so you can buy trading cards, which do absolutely nothing. And the shopping experience itself... wow, I love shopping here. Do you have a loyalty card? The only real triumphant moments of the game appear when you win a minigame, and even then, Spyro doesn't even look like he knows what just happened. You did it! Oh yeah, I did, didn't I? You know what theme I've noticed throughout this whole game? Depression. I'm being serious. I think this game is about depression. This new character, Blink the Mole, is always hiding underground, away from the sun. In Cortex's boss fight, he just gives up halfway through and accepts his inevitable death. Whenever Spyro wins tug-of-war matches against creatures trying to destroy his world and kill his friends, he looks sorry for them. Sergeant Bird hung himself, and in every cutscene, Spyro never looks happy. Follow me, Crash. Bosses don't even try to hurt you. They're more interested in jollying themselves or slumping left and right over and over again while all you do is jump over them to win. The only real challenge is with Crush and Gulp together, and even then, Gulp tries so little to actually hit you that Spyro falls asleep. The whole game, from start to end, took me 46 minutes to finish. And 5 of those minutes were when I paused the game because I had to take a massive crap. So in an effort to add more value to the game, do you know what they did? They locked the final world out until you beat every minigame before it 3 times each. What? Everything again? 3 times each, when most of the minigames are copies of each other anyway. Are you trashed? No, not having it. I am not having it. Not having it. Jim Caddick, 28, male, not having it!
Let's be real, you'd have to be mental to play the whole game again 2 more times, with tiny little changes in difficulty, just so you could get to the last world.
So you get to the final world of the game, and lo and behold, it's exactly the same as all the other worlds, with the same minigames, and the same slipperiness, the same pitiful everything. With the final boss being a carbon copy of the final boss from Crash Bandicoot Purple, which you didn't have to access in that game by beating every minigame 2 extra times, and finally ending with Spyro looking like But my absolute favourite bit, the best bit of the game entirely, is that near the end, there's the hardest platforming sequence in the whole thing, full of long jumps, airborne enemies, leaps of faith, and it takes a while to get through it. But once you do get through it, the reward waiting for you at the end is Crash Bandicoot. The hidden secret of the game, locked behind the hardest part of it, is one of the main characters.
I'm not exaggerating when I say this is one of the worst games I've ever played. I can't stand it, and I never want to play it again. So long, Scroat. I'm a real fire dragon.
Part 3. The next games had better be good or I'll burn down an orphanage. Well, hopefully after the disaster of Spyro Orange, we can finally get somewhere with Simon, a Happy Teeth. A Hero's Tale came out in late 2004 for PS2, GameCube, and Xbox right after Orange. And from now on, we've got no more of the original teams behind the first few games. Different voice actors, developers, composers, the lot. Maybe for the best, I don't know. He knows. By the way, don't let this cover fool you. Even though it looks like a George R.R. Martin epic, you start the game up and get...
Dude, some dudes drain my pool, dude. I mean, dude.
So after Spyro Orange, everything is just and as it should be. The game opens with a familiar face, Nasty Knockers, and then this new ultra-mean baddie appears to try and take over the world with a face like a crumpled sewage pipe. His name is Red. I hope we find out why he's called that. The intro to our goodies begins, and who is Red?
That's the fallen dragon, Red. I'm sure you've heard all about him.
No.
Ah, yeah, we don't know, and we don't care. In this whole game, we never seem to care. We get hit on, don't care. We fight a thick old fish woman, don't care. We lose 80 dragon eggs from a nursery, no need to chase after the thieves, don't care. We get told to collect things to power this thing, don't care. And the professor doesn't seem to care either.
What exactly do you need to collect?
I don't know. Light gems?
Fine. You need 8 light gems.
You know what? This is just the levity I needed. I really like this. This is actually kind of funny. But hey, you! Who the hell is Red?
I'm old.
I actually really like the story here. No one gives a shit from start to end, and it's pretty entertaining. Plus, it allows the game itself to be played more than watched, which is good, because Hero's Tale is really good. In fact, no, it's great. Yeah, I said it. These reviews, they're all wrong.
Small dark holes. Not a problem for me, Spyro. I'll have that locked.
This game is another attempt of Spyro-esque gameplay in a more open-world setting. And you know what? It's not the best open-world game I've ever played, but for Spyro, I think it pretty much nails it. Not only is the open-world idea extremely fluid and well-executed, with tons of fast travel stations and a great map system to show where you have and haven't been, but the world you travel to have some of the most engaging and creative gliding puzzles and tricky enemies to get by in the whole series. The movement controls are really smooth, the charge is really snappy, and I love that it gallops this time. It even feels so good to just run around in circles and see how Simon's body snakes around behind you. That is great attention to animation. There's no stiffness, no floatiness, no charge jumping, and no hovering. Okay, it's not perfect. Why is there no hover? Can someone get me my cyanide? That is a baffling exclusion. The hover has been a staple for years, and even on the Game Boy Advance. Why has it gone now? The lack of hover makes some jumps unnecessarily annoying. What? You can pull yourself up from ledges? Good for you, matey bubble bath! Everything else, though, is terrific. Gems fall out of baskets and metal crates extremely quickly, and Sparks picks them all up quicker than you can... And even though, yes, the hover is gone, The new double jump is a decent enough replacement, and you know what? I also love the way that you can hold the breath button down now and trail the breath attack for a few seconds to cover more area and distance. It's more like a spray than a breath, but it works great. Even better when you mix in the returning additional elemental breaths. And unlike Exit My Dartboard, each breath provides a brand new way to attack and puzzle solve that all have their own costs and benefits instead of all being basically the same attack but looking slightly different. Fire is the same as always. Electric can penetrate armor but also needs to be held down for longer to kill anything. Ice freezes practically everything but also means you have to charge into enemies after freezing them. And water breath pushes wood. I hate this breath. You might as well have Spyro spit sand on everyone's face. Okay, hold the phone. Who signed off on this character? No, this isn't a glitch. This is a separate character. It's just another model of Spyro covered in salsa. This is peak character design. I love it. Oh, also the power-up gates are back for invincibility and supercharging. Always a pleasure to see. This genuinely feels like a natural evolution from PS1 to PS2 for what a Spyro game should be aiming to try and do for a new generation. I really dig it. And it has been way too long since a Spyro game has made me go The bosses are also actually bosses again, thank bosses. You've got Nasty Nork with his very supportive bra, and he is a little easy, yeah, but he's boss 1 and he puts up way more of a fight compared to Spyro 1 as a final boss. Then there's the Sea Woman, who is honestly completely pathetic.
I'm going to tear you to pieces! But can you please wait? I really need a nap.
She isn't a threat whatsoever. Even this mammoth here is more of a danger, and the first time you see him, he... Rip.
Relax, buddy. Spyro's still alive. I know, because if he weren't, we'd be going back to a previous save.
Oh yeah, speaking of you, this is the first game in the series where we can actually control Hunter. Well, you know, on the ground and not flapping. And I find it really fun. It's basically more of Spyro's gameplay, but with quicker movement, no glide, and a focus on long-range arrow combat and puzzles. It's like a fast-paced Zelda minigame that allows you to jump and climb much easier, and I welcome the switch up whenever it happens.
You see this cave behind me? Well, it looks like you're not gonna fit through there.
You know what? You're right. I can't fit in there. And that's not all. We also have the new playable character, Blink the Mole, the professor's nephew. Ah, back in the good old days of wearing the first letter of your name on your hat, your feet looking like giant suction cups, and for God's sakes, man, put some trousers on! I will admit that these aren't the best bits of the game for me, but I don't hate them. They're just... The idea is that you run around a series of underground caves, search for dark crystals, and then blow them up with a limited supply of bombs you can find elsewhere in the tunnels. It controls fine, but all of his segments are visually identical. He isn't the most acrobatic mole I've ever seen, you know, like how moles are known to be, and it takes so long to find all the crystals, even longer if you miss a hidden area above or below you and have to backtrack. And then after you get through it once, you have to do it again for another collectible, which is just the exact same minigame in the same level design all over again, but with double the crystals to blow up and more tunnels to get through after going through the other tunnels you already went through earlier on the first minigame. Ugh. But like I said, they aren't that bad, just a little tedious, especially once you focus on first-person aiming for clearing out enemies and realizing that the butt squash move is probably the best move he has for fighting in close combat. Don't bother with the gun and don't bother with his punches. Then there's Sergeant Bird. Yes, he came back. Sadly, his free-flying exploration is gone, his unblinking eyes have gone, his butt crack is gone, and his walking speed is anything you'll have to pack to time consent, goodbye to the... But, even though I used to loathe these parts of the game as a kid, because, I mean, he's not how he is in Spyro 3, he's not even using his arms to fly, he's not a real penguin. I actually massively enjoy them nowadays because they are this game's version of the classic PS1 speedways, but with the ability to fire locked-on missiles on the targets from really far away, while flying another direction to find and hit something else, and drop bombs at the same time to tackle multiple targets at once in front of you and below you. These are pretty great. I don't mind playing them once and then again with all the targets being rearranged. You are all wrong about this, but I'm insecure about my thoughts and I'd need someone else to agree with me. Then you have Sparks being playable again and...
Spyro, you'll never fit into that crack.
These parts are the worst bit of the game. They suck. They're annoying. You can barely see what's coming to maul you because Sparks' enormous fat ass is always taking up the whole screen. His bullets don't really feel like they hit anything reliably, and there are 0 invincibility frames, meaning if you get stuck in a collapsing ceiling, you can lose all of your health in a matter of 2 seconds. Oh yeah, you also had to play these twice as well, and the second attempt throws more enemies and less power-ups to help you out than the first attempt. You will enjoy it! Do I want to play again for fun? Are you high? Oh yeah, I completely completely forgot to mention Moneybags. Yes, he's back now, and for the first time, I don't mind him here. He sells extremely useful items all over the place for you, like the ability to carry more than one chest key on you at once, double gems for a limited time, an extra shockwave power-up for your head bash, and a variety of handy elemental breath bombs that I used all the time. None of which is an issue to me because gems themselves are not part of completion now, they're currency. And to be honest, I can't be upset with someone that thinks I'm his sugar daddy.
Ah, there you are, my favorite wallet.
He's a communist! And also, I think he's forgotten my name.
Oh, hello.
In terms of presentation, I think the game looks incredible even to this day. The character animations are really impressive, and the soundtrack is one of Spyro's best, no sarcasm. You can't get me to hate this game. Nah, you can't even get me to dislike it, even when it's occasionally really slow and annoying. I have nothing but respect for a game that tells you, ooh, you can't charge on ice, it won't work, naughty, naughty, but it still lets you try it. How sweet is that?
I'm not a fish, I'm a dragon.
Oh, a sea dragon. Got it.
Chicks.
I always knew. Cancelling.
So you've beaten the game, explored all the world, swam around looking very important, and find Red the Dragon, who I still can't work out where his name came from. And like the other bosses in the game, he isn't that hard. In fact, you fight him twice in the game. The first time where you can just melt all of his attacks before they touch you, and the second time where he becomes a Gundam. Don't let that intimidate you though, because when you get his own minions to shoot him back, he just stands there and allows himself to die. And in the ending cutscene, he gets put in a bottle and the game stops. Wow, that's an ending.
That is, unless you collect everything and beat the game 100%, which I did. Maybe there'll be another secret hidden level or something. Whatever the bonus is, please be good.
Perhaps we should just turn off the TV for a while. Good idea.
Make mine baloney.
I said please! And then we get a credit sequence, which is a totally black screen because I'm playing this on the Xbox 360, which glitches it all out and means you can't even see it. But it's okay. I mean, who needs to see anyway? Sometimes you just gotta go with where the wind takes you and see what surprises. What did you do that for, Andrew Van? What's that, boy? You have another game for me? And it's a sequel to A Hero's Tale that came out exclusively on the Nintendo DS and is the final game in the original series continuity to come out? Well, burst my balloon. Come over here and give me a kiss. Right, so taking a page from the Book of Kingdom Hearts, Spyro decided to make a story-relevant, canonical, official sequel to his console-based platforming series on the Nintendo DS, and nowhere else.
But I don't mind. I can handle it. I'm a stud.
It is known as Simon Shrinking Legs, and this is the final game to feature Spyro as we've known him up until this point. The end of the classic Spyro continuity. So even though the last portable exclusive was the Cortex conspiracy, where I'm certain that the only conspiracy there was to piss off me, maybe they'll actually go all out with this and end on a high note. Okay, not a bad title screen here. When you look at it like this, at least, but in real life, it looks more like Spyro has a really long, weird neck. Vacation can't last forever, you know, even for you. Bitch, I haven't even had one. I've been trying to go on holiday for 7 games now. Oh no. Is this how fast we're going to move? For the whole game? What is this? What is this jump? It's not a jump, it's like you're being vacuumed up to the roof. I can't figure out where the hell I'm landing and I can't get any distance with this. Oh, and what's this? I can't glide? What is this game? Oh, hello there, old. You want me to follow you? No problem. Low, skip to below, low. Aha, watch out, we've got combat now. Did you know this game was made by Amaze Entertainment? Well, now I can see why. It's terrible. But I'm gonna calm down and fall asleep for a second. Maybe I'll have a clearer head in the morning. Okay, what is this massive screw-off? What is that thing? What is that? What is it? Ah, get away from me, you eyeball-leggy Johnny! When did this game decide to become Siren Blood Curse? Why didn't you warn me? Oh, wait a second, you did. Shadow Legacy is an action RPG, which is not a thing I was expecting to say today. You explore the world, fight enemies to gain XP, use magic spells, level up, and use the touchscreen to cast spells, which feels completely tacked on and unnecessary, just like a real DS game. And very similar to how this game moves the main storyline onto the DS for no discernible reason, the gameplay is kind of like Kingdom Hearts as well. If Sora went around headbutting everything in place and had a bath in glue, without a shadow of a legacy. This is the slowest and most boring action RPG I've ever played, and I mean that as literally as I can muster. Enter the Dragonfly was slow, but it was at least trying to be faster. Just imagine for a second what this game would look like if it lagged. Playing this game feels like you're stuck with a sleep paralysis demon. You'll be sludging along with it, minding your own business, and then every so often you'll wake up and realize how slow you're actually going, and then go Look, I'm just gonna be real for a second. I couldn't stand playing this. I gave it a few hours of my time, but it's just so boring and so uneventful that even if I finished it, I don't think I'd have anything else to add to what I'm saying. So I gave up on it. Here's a condensed version of my playthrough. Wow, I'm charging, and it's still taking a while. Wait, why aren't the rocks breaking immediately when I charge into them? Do you want me to stop moving? You think I'm going too fast?
Why aren't my attacks connecting?
Yes, this looks completely fine to me. Hang on, what's stopping me from going around this? What's stopping me? You want me to go all the way around to the other side? Ugh, speed up! Get a move on, you flu jab! Wait a second, you need magic points in order to fast travel! There's still 3 people to save. What do you mean, people? They're dragons! I'm saving dragons! Am I playing Spyro the person? You know what? I honestly don't care if the mechanics get better or the story gets better. I am not spending my precious minutes on this earth playing something as slow and as abysmal as this.
Don't play this game. You could say I'm being unfair, but nope. I don't even know if I want to play the next few games. I just want to get in the car and leave. Why can't I get... Come on, get out! Get off! Get what?
Pink poo bag on your keys. Pink poo bag on your keys. It's not a bag for pink poo. It's the color of the bag. Use it to pick up your dog poo, or use it to pick up other people's dogs. Pink poo bag on your keys. Pink poo bag on your keys. You look so cool, you might freeze. Pink poo bag on your keys. Oh no, I've lost my keys. Oh, they're where the poo bag is. Walking the dog. Forget a bag, put it on your keys. You slag. I'm best friends with my bag. In England, we call this a word you shouldn't say. Pink poo bag on your keys. Pink poo bag on your... Part 4. I've got nothing much else to add here. What do you want from me? Leave me alone! In 2006, everyone was sick of the poor batting average of cheeky platforming kiddie Spyro, so then they hit the reset button and started a brand new trilogy known as The Legend of Spyro, starting off with the appropriately titled A New Beginning, or as it's more commonly known, The Legend of Simon, A Nice Bailiff. This was made by Chrome Studios this time, and I have never played this game before, so do you want to know what I think? It's different, so it stinks.
See you later, I'm gonna enter the Dragonfly.
So now we're not a baby game anymore, we're going darker and way more serious. I mean, it worked so well with a 3-foot hedgehog, why can't it work with a bright purple 3-foot dragon? We're dealing with the origins of Spyro, from his egg hatching to learning the truth about his past, and there's an innocent dragon cursed by a dark master, but we don't realize that until we need to kill her, and all sorts is going on. We aren't in a cartoon anymore, sunshine, we're now in Lord of the Rings. And so who better to get involved in this game than with the Lord of the Ring himself, Elijah Wood. Providing the voice of Simon for the very first time, alongside the voice of Gary Oldman. And I will say this right now, Elijah gives us the best delivery of the no cliche I think I've ever seen. No! Oh, and who wants to see the newest Sparks?
Catch up or give up, Chunky.
No! Right, so we've gone from a collectathon platformer to side-scrolling minigamer to action RPG. So logically, we've made the next step to an action-adventure beat-em-up. But now Sparks looks like a DreamWorks ant and Spyro looks like a drunk. And I will say right now, I don't hate this game. but I don't like it that much either. I promise all of you I'm going into this with as open of a mind as I can, but I don't know, guys. The basics are here and they're playable, but there's so many catches and snags I can't get around. Stuff like the upgrade points not having any on-screen indication how much you have, so you have to keep pausing and looking in the upgrade menu to check yourself. I find that the moves are way too slow to come out for how fast the enemies move around you. If you're stuck and surrounded in a group, there's no way to quickly dodge out of it. And yet, you can dodge with this weirdly sluggish strafing move, but you aren't going to dash away to safety anytime soon by doing this. Not to mention, there's no lock-on, so you can't even choose what target to swap around while you do the strafing. And no matter what you do, you will eventually be overwhelmed by enemies called Fisty Grin Thief. Not that it's a big deal though, because if you die, nothing happens. You just carry on from a few seconds ago. Okay then. Honestly, I just prefer spamming firebombs. It's easily the most effective and powerful attack to deal with all the groups, and it can also make the game look like spreaded mustard. You can double jump and you can glide, which I do appreciate, but there's barely any real point to it. You're still majorly railroaded from samey combat encounter to samey combat encounter without really being able to explore anything. Secrets aren't really a thing anymore either. The focus here is definitely the combat, but the issue is, this ain't no Devil May Cry or Bayonetta. It's stupidly basic. Even the different elemental breath attacks don't change the fact that you're still pressing variations of the same 3 buttons without much else going on. And I know a ton of people wanted me to go in depth here and were really hyped to see what I thought about a nearly 20-year-old reboot about a lizard, but here's the thing. I can fill the video with empty fluff and just talk your ears off, lying about how much I can talk about if you want me to, or I can be honest. And honestly, this isn't doing it for me. It's just too bland. I've got nothing to say about it. It's not as awful as everyone around me at the time made me think, but it is a little bit... meh.
Now, I don't mind the new direction here at all, but my issue with it is that A, it's not done that well to begin with, and I could be playing any other hack and slash or beat 'em up that's already better out the gate, and B, it's still Spyro. This isn't what I wanted to play a Spyro game for. It would be like if you made Crash Bandicoot the star of 7 Sins.
And look here, you can throw all of these pretty storybook cutscenes at me, but at the end of the day, it's still a kid's game about a purple dragon. It's not that deep. Kinda like the combat. Plus, in nearly every scene, Spyro is always like, oh my gosh, what's that? Sparks is always like, hey, what's the deal with airline food? And everyone else around him is always like,
Spyro, you must seek the strength of your courage with the passion of wisdom, so the darkness can be defeated by the honesty of your loyalty to the—
Shut up, you old hog stick.
Feeling like £1,000,000, and I'm out here with my pals. I've got 1,000,000 subs, so I've got £1,000,000. Feeling like a milli, feel like a milli. I want a milli, I have 1,000,000 shoes, and me and oh great. I didn't love a game that had dark epic fantasy overtones in it, and now I've woken up the legendary warrior Vinegar. It'll take him at least a week to get to me, so I better look at the sequel to this as quick as I can.
1 year later, in 2007, Chrome were brought back on to continue the story in The Legend of Simon, the Empty Niece. And it follows on directly from the last game. The not bad guy possessed by the real bad guy, Cinder, gets saved from Simon. So he takes her home, she leaves one day, and Spyro dies. Oh wait, no he didn't. Now you've got to go and save the world from the moon! No time to lose! Hit the road, Jack! Spyro the Eternal Night is nearly exactly the same as before, so automatically I know I'm not going to love it, but there are a few neat little additions here. There's added slow-mo to takedown animations, there's more areas to explore for upgrade material, which is very welcome, there's way more jumping and gliding sections to break up the combat, the elemental breaths actually provide you with different kinds of attacks rather than just different colored variations of the same basic attack, and this final blast move looked cool before, but now it can rip through the fabric of reality and turn Spyro inside out. On paper, I should really get along with this game, even though I still don't like how Sparks looks like the mask and Spyro somehow looks even more oblivious than before.
Spyro, your place is here. Your destiny is here.
But is it just me, or is this game way harder? Like, annoyingly harder. I don't know, what do you think, Elijah Wood?
It's dangerous for her to be outside the temple at night.
Oh, yeah, alright. I see where you're coming from. I understand your opinion.
I don't know if I'm just exhausted after playing through 12 games up to this point, but I found Eternal Night to be so much harder than A New Beginning, and not in a good way. It was harder than arranging a funeral on WhatsApp. The starting enemies from the beginning of the game do not let up. Everything attacks you relentlessly, and your health drains like a drain. Especially when you get stun locked into a group encounter and they just tag team spam attacks until you're out for the count. This happens way too frequently. You still attack slower than the enemies do, but now the lack of being able to cancel out of a combo or dodge roll to get the hell out of there makes that so much more apparent. And hey, look, they brought back one of my favorite parts of the first GBA game, Season of Ice. Off-screen dogpiling. Yeah, remember that? Isn't it fun? I think the devs knew how much harder this game was than the first, and that's why they put way more health and breath power crystals around the place to help alleviate the beatings, but the issue is the lack of mobility. If you get into a bad spot during a fight, you will not be able to move over to these crystals fast enough before it's game over again. I found myself doing so many pot shots and running away just to survive. And yeah, the ice breath here is much more useful than the first game and does make crowd control a bit more manageable, but it's too little too late, man. I just can't be bothered to see what else the game has to offer me after such an awful first impression. And listen here, alright, I love a long cutscene. I'm a rock-solid hard man. Give me uninterrupted dialogue and dramatic pauses all over the place. I can handle it. But we're dealing with a story that isn't deep or interesting enough to justify how many cutscenes are piled on here. Sometimes back to back. It's like if someone sat you down and showed you a lore video about Barney. Ooh, what's that? We can slow down the game at will? Gee, that's neato. I always wanted to turn a Spyro game into Enter the Dragonfly on command. And before you ask, no, slowing the game down doesn't help with large, brutal group encounters that much. And even if it did, the game doesn't slow down around you, you slow down as well. So you're either choosing unfun, unforgiving alleyway mugging or Shadow Legacy on purpose, because I just couldn't wait to go that slow again.
I have never wanted to stop playing a game as quick as this before in my life, and it's really annoying because I was really enjoying all the good changes, but the rest of it, nah, I don't feel like cheese grating off my fingers for fun. I already do that!
Let's go. See ya.
See? Sparks has already had enough. He's gone. And with no Sparks, that means no more games. So finally, I can do the show that I've always wanted to do. Roll it.
It's the Dead Bird of the Week! It's the Dead Bird of the Week! There's one more, you inbred!
Oh, Vinegar.
Okay guys, we're nearly there, I promise. Dawn of the Dragon on the Xbox 360, also known as Simon Door of the Door. And I guess Chrome Studios weren't trusted anymore after the reception of the last two games, so for the final game of the trilogy, and indeed the final game in the whole Spyro timeline, Sierra Entertainment hired a new company to make this one called Time to pop this mummer in and bake it at gas mark 10. Oh god, oh me oh my, I've got to make another video about these things, haven't I? Okay, here we are, Xbox 360 dashboard. Haven't looked around it for a while, but yeah, it's... The story of this game is that Spyro and Cinder are trapped in a piss rock and it's time to let them out, but not really because we're also going to trap you again. Why did you let them out? Okay, so right out of the gate, the game looks and runs amazingly, actually. Is that a dodge roll? Oh shit, son, it's a dodge roll. And what's this? Way more crowd control attacks and area attacks to clear out enemies. You can grab enemies now for extra combo potential. Holy shit, is Spyro eating that guy? Spyro can fly. Fly? What? Yes, Spyro can fly. Gusts of wind to stop you from flying everywhere you want? Yes! Yes! Quick time events?
Hey! Well, you know how...
Oh my god, is that Hunter? Hunter! Hunter is back! Oh no! He doesn't look, sound, or feel even vaguely like the same Hunter from the last games, but I don't care. That somehow makes the game good. What's this? A vat of extra platforming challenges based around gliding and climbing to reward you with hidden upgrade materials all over the place? Character switching for entirely new elemental breath attacks that can be used for combat and way more puzzles to solve? And it was then that Caddy realized that this whole time he had a diabetic coma.
Wow, this game is...
What are you doing, Dawn of the Dragon? I like you? No, in fact, I really like you. I can't believe I'm saying this, and I'm sad it's taken until the third game of the reboot trilogy for me to say, but this is legitimately an extremely good game. It's got the balance between explorative collecting that Spyro is best known for, and the combat that the Legend series is best known for, and merges them seamlessly while improving the combat of the Legend series. It really helps how there's like a million new moves to play with instead of the same handful of combos we had before. There's ground combat, aerial combat, grabbing combat, and the breath combat is tons better. You've got fire, ice, electricity, and earth all unlocked from the start and do even more different things than they've ever done before. Some are great for group damage, some are great for dispersing crowds, some are great for stuns, and some are great for continuous gradual damage. And with Cinder now being playable, you can switch to her whenever you want and pick her elemental breaths: poison, fear, shadow, and wind. Too many beans. In combat, you still don't have a lock-on feature, but it doesn't matter because not only do you have a dodge roll to better position yourself to avoid damage quickly, finally, but most of the time the camera ends up being locked onto a scenario and pulled back like a PS2 God of War game, allowing you to see the whole battlefield, making off-screen threats no issue at all, and when the camera control is given back to you, my humps. Look at this. There are multiple large, sprawling open worlds with tons of secrets and optional routes to explore, with gorgeous music in the background. Yeah, sure, whatever, the game slows down in bigger areas, but it's a small price to pay for what is the most liberating and unironically magical Spyro game so far. This is so good, dude. It took another 4 games for me to get to this point, but I'm so happy to play another Spyro game that makes me go I'm still gonna prefer the collectathon stuff. That's just what Spyro does best, if you ask me. But if you want to shoehorn him into these trendy, edgy bar fights, this is how you do it.
This game, man, after all the toss that we've tossed through, this actually warms my heart. Am I dead?
There's no time to die!
Ah! Hi.
I'm Long Dennis!
Oh yeah, how are you doing, Long?
Well, you know, I'm just being Long!
Can you get out?
But before I go, it's time to play! In one hand, I have another game for you, and in the other, I have the Wetty Betty!
I don't want to play. Can you please just give me the...
Here we go!
Stop being Long for 1 second and please just give me the...
Oh no! You're out of time! Get ready for the Wetty Betty! Well done! And for being such a good sport, have a bottle!
Oh!
And here is your prize!
Skylanders. Long Dennis, I never want to see you ever again.
Oh!
Yeah, I know. For most normies, Spyro ended as a series in 2008 with Dawn of the Dragon. But no, mate, if you want to call your game Spyro's Adventure, you're damn sure gonna make it into a video about Spyro games. Released in 2011, the first Skylanders game was, at least originally, yet another Spyro reboot for a younger crowd. And the best way to go about that is by turning the adorable little boy into a vampire French bulldog. If we were fighting together in a war against the same enemy, I would shoot you first. If you don't know what Skylanders is, well, I've actually already looked at one in an older video and explained what the game is. So do you know what I'm gonna do now? I'm gonna put the clip of me talking about it right here because I've been going on for 2 hours. Can you please let me have this? Skylanders is a series of simple 3D beat-em-up platforming games in the Spyro mythos, except that it requires the use of a USB portal device in order for you to place different figures onto the portal and have them pop up in the game. Different figures have different abilities to get by different obstacles and unlock different secrets. Thank you for explaining that, me. It was very hot.
Now, the copy of Skylanders I found on eBay was brilliant. Want to know why? Because it came with a giant box of figures that I didn't want. Look at these, like, what am I supposed to do with all of these?
Well, I guess we can at least look at them. Who is starring in the final original release of a game with Spyro still in the title? Well, we've got Spyro, Sparks, Cinder, Fire, Spyro, Thomas the Tank Engine, Fish, Steve Irwin, Spyro, Boat, and Shoe. Truth be told, I actually think all of these little guys are pretty cool, but I'm not here to be nice. Let's play the game.
I am Eon, your guide in this world. But where are you may ask?
That is a very good question. This is Eon and this is Chaos. Eon is good, Chaos is bad, and Chaos also sounds like he's taking one giant breath in while holding his nose.
Long have I waited for this day to take my revenge!
Right then, level 1. Let's see what's wait a second. I think my controller's broken. I can flame and I can charge, but I can't jump. You know what? Actually, no. Maybe it's just because this is the tutorial. This is a kid's game after all. The jumping might come later. Wait, so let me get this right. We've gone from gliding and hovering to no gliding to no jumping.
Yeah, alright, bye!
No. Bad boy. You know what? It would be so nice of you to use your giant wings to get over this tiny little hop, but no, I've got to go all the way around here and walk into this bouncy drain cover instead. I mean, shitting hell, you don't even charge for longer than a couple of seconds before getting tired. What's this? An achievement? Happy hour? I'm way ahead of you.
And so I said, you put that in my pie hole and I'll have a woof.
I am starting to get sick to my guts with how slow Spyro likes to go in a lot of his games. Even if you wear a speedy propeller cap, it doesn't seem to make Spyro or any of his new bastard friends run any faster. And mixing that in with no jumping makes this not even slightly fun for me. Then as you go on through the game, there'll be side areas only unlockable from friends of a certain class, which I don't mind, but more often than not, it will randomly pop up and tell you that, oops, you're weak all of a sudden, time for you to swap out to wet Spyro, otherwise you'll take much longer than necessary to kill enemies that aren't weak to the class the game tells you to swap to for absolutely no reason. It's not really a video game and more like a sit-up regime. We gotta get those tubby kids their exercise sitting down playing games all day. So why don't we give them muscly thumbs and a six-pack? Oh, and this dude here is called Gil. Something that I didn't realize until now is that these figures actually save data. Yeah, they're not just a controller input, they're memory cards that keep data in their feet. So then, in one area, after swapping to someone with the correct class that I needed to, I ended up with someone born in 1947 that was level 10 and had a small business loan in the bank. That just comes with getting these figures pre-owned, I guess. Sure, I could reset them from the menu, but that means I'll go back to having like 2 attacks and not jumping anywhere and running slowly, so can you get off my dick? These cutscenes are really long and I don't know why you can't skip them, because as we all know, Fortnite children love watching long videos in the middle of playing their games. Come on, I don't want to watch any of this. I want to get to the next level of doing nothing but running around and hitting 2 buttons.
Wait, you're a Skylander, aren't you?
Yes. And you're a golf club, aren't you?
Sorry about the lint balls, Hugo, but we were able to rescue Callie.
I know what you're thinking. Surely this isn't all you do in the main game, is it? Yeah, it is. You run around, spam attacks, and don't jump anywhere. What do you do in the optional challenges? Run around, spam attacks, and don't jump anywhere. Oh, wow, look at this incredible new land to explore. What am I going to get to do in it? Run around, spam attacks, and don't jump anywhere. And I'm sorry, I am still in shock over the fact that Spyro can't jump. Spyro the winged beast can't get over this tiny gap. So how does he get over the gap? He assaults a tortoise and shoves it into the gap to walk on top of it. That's how Spyro gets over a gap. I'm playing a game called Skylanders where you are unable to ascend towards it. Here's a tower I've got to smash. Don't you like smashing? Smashing is fun, right? Well, here's how you smash in Skylanders.
Up to the gills!
Even when you get to something completely different, like a turret section. In A Hero's Tale, the turret sections were frantic, extremely fast, challenging, and honestly, I kind of enjoyed them. But here, you... Please understand, I am not looking for much. Like Gandhi at a Christmas buffet. I don't need to own the world to be happy. but I physically am unable to understand the appeal of a game like this aside from the figures to collect, which you can do anyway without playing the damn game. And it's also great to play the game and then get constantly advertised to about the other figures I can get. Hey, thanks for buying our game, kids, but your parents didn't get you enough.
Silence, Grubsy!
Without the figures, what is this? It isn't really anything, and it definitely isn't Spyro. It's transparently obvious that the subtitle Spyro's Adventure was slapped on to sell a brand new IP nobody would care about if he wasn't on it. Parade his corpse over the front of the box to pretend it's his game. But hey, don't go too far. We won't have him talk at any point in the game, or make a story about him, or have any of the characters address him by his name. You know, the name that's on the front of the box. Nobody will notice. Well, you know what, Activision? I noticed. People like to not count this as a Spyro game, but if you're gonna spit his name on the box and claim it's his adventure, then I'm gonna treat it like one. Ah, look, I found an anvil. I put it on his head. Perfect. I fixed his ugly. Whoa, what's this? I can upgrade now and unlock new abilities? I can give Spyro flight. Yes! Thank you, Christ. Now we can still not go anywhere. Yeah!
Dare the drag.
Oh, what's that? The game froze? Oh, that's a shame. Oh, and the game is recyclable?
Gee, that's good. I did it. I saved the trees.
So that's it. 10 years later, after I said that I would do it, I finally made a video about all of Spyro's main games. Happy million subs. Out of the 14 games I played for this video, sadly, I ended up only liking/loving 6 of them. Less than half. But does that make Spyro a bad franchise as a whole? Not at all. Because I think that the good stuff is so good it vastly overshadows the bad. He is a dragon of quality, not necessarily quantity. And to be fair, it does take a lot for something to make me And you know, there's definitely still a market for Spyro to come back. I mean, we all saw how great the Reignited trilogy was, for the most part, so I'm not against giving him another shot. I mean, Christ, if Cash Banuka can get an official, proper 4th game 20 years after the 3rd one, why can't Spyro? I don't think it would harm Simon by giving him a proper 4. That isn't this. But for now, the only question I want an answer to is, what do I do with these? Well...
Ah, bonjour everyone! It's me, the chef, Sandwich! And you just caught me in the middle of reading the Pooh cookbook. Very disappointing. 2 stars. No shit in it. But today I also have a new recipe to try. Skylanders sausage. The first step is that you want to put the heat on as high as possible, and then you get the vegetable oil and zoom. While they're waiting for everything to start cooking properly, you can also take your portal and you can put it on the stove like that, and then you turn it over every so often and until it's brown on both sides. Once you start seeing all of the people's faces coming off like that, you know you're on the right track. Oh dear, steamroller. Oh, the faces will start peeling off, and then the wings will actually become flappy. Oh, this is the most important part of the recipe, when you have to get the delicacy of the shark properly cooked, because I caught that from the water. Oh, I'd say that's a marked improvement there, yeah. We didn't really like his face, so we just thought blank slate, you know, we can just put a new face on him now. Now it's starting to smoke, that means that we're really getting going now. So as you could see, like, his arm came off and attached itself to his other arm. Oh, easy peasy, the fumes make me wheezy. Ah, the first base has come off. Hello, feet. Hello, lady. Or what used to be a lady. Spyro is going... Oh, he's bronzing. Look at that. He looks like some sort of special gold you find in the mine. I'm very happy with how this is all going so far, but I mean, God, don't do this. It's... I'm crying. Don't do this. I can't actually handle the smell anymore. I'm feeling sleepy and my mouth tastes of coins, so I'm going to pass you on to my sous chef. Aha! Bonjour, everyone! It's me, the sous chef, Pizza! We have to cool it down with the water, and then eventually, after it's swum around in its nice little pond scum, we have to pick the best pieces to put in the sausage, and sadly, all of these pieces here, even though it's very high quality meat, it's all kind of congealed together, and we can't fit that in a sausage, so I'll probably serve that up with some onions and mushrooms and have a nice steak. But we can at least put Spyro and, Tree in there! Now, we have to do the most important bit, we have to get our sausage links out. Just like here. Luckily, they come individually wrapped for your convenience. We'll go, wah, and then we unravel it. Look at that perfect little sausage skin. Put Simon in there, yes. And I'll also put in the lady's feet. I'll put that in there as well. There you go. We have Skylander's sausage. Ribbed for her pleasure. Ribbed for her pleasure. Ribbed for her, ribbed for her, ribbed for her pleasure. Ribbed for her, ribbed for her pleasure. Ribbed for her pleasure.
Unexpected item in bagging area. Oh, we really didn't like that.